Oh, the good old days, people. The true power of SummerSlam. Can you feel the heat? That's exactly what you get right here on the Masters of Wrestling. We are feeling the heat of the summertime fun. Well, actually, not summertime fun. What am I talking about? That's WWE when they say the biggest party of the summer. I didn't know that a fighting contest, a competition between two people fighting in the ring, was described as a party. Perhaps that's number one in the reason why WWE are not able to produce the type of quality content that they once did a long time ago. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your SummerSlam report, as it were. No, I'm not a mark, so I'm not going to be doing that. But we are going to be reacting to what we've seen so far and talking about some behind the scenes and some of the other illusions or Illuminatis that they've put over everybody in this whopping great big disaster of an event. However, I heard that SummerSlam has had some sizzle, so we're going to discuss the sizzle, but we're also going to discuss the fizzle. All right. I am the Master Emir, and ladies and gentlemen, this right here, this historic day, is the last live stream that I'm doing for all the channel, all viewers, all subscribers. Next week, it goes straight into the members section only. So if you have not joined to become a channel member, live streams are no longer going to be available on the free version of the channel unless something monumental happens or we happen to be reviewing Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. The big four, other than that, no. So join and become a channel member and feel the heat with the true leaders in sports entertainment, the masters of wrestling. So I'm sure you've all heard, I'm sure some of you have even seen it, the clips that have been playing online, because I imagine that the majority of you, if not all of you, would not pay a dime to watch SummerSlam live. At least I would hope not. All right. But at the end of the day, it's been going on for 2 days. They've been ranting and raving about it. They've been saying that it's great. I actually heard some people comment and say, oh, well, they did all right. I think they sold 40,000 tickets. I have the real numbers right here. I actually have them on my phone from my correspondent who sent them to me. And actually, no, they did not sell 40,000 tickets. In fact, we have a direct caption of tickets available. As of an hour and a half ago, there were 34,000 tickets available for purchase for tonight's SummerSlam. Mind you, in a stadium that holds 73,000. So that tells you how much of this stadium they sectioned off. Of course, they sectioned off 1/4 for that gigantic stage, which there's no need for. So one quarter of the arena stadium was sectioned off. So basically, they put up half of the stadium for sale for tickets. That's all. And as of an hour and a half ago, 994 tickets had yet to be sold. So whoever that was, whoever that smart aleck was who said to me that they sold 40,000 tickets, number one, they didn't. And if you think selling half of a stadium is anything to write home about, then you're obviously one of those who just likes participation awards. It's not where we're going here, people. We're going for success or failure. It's clearly obvious that in terms of a fan attraction, SummerSlam has been an absolute failure this year. They used to call it the party of the summer. I don't know what it would call it right now. I'd probably call it the meltdown of the summer for those in charge. But however, they keep spinning it. Of course, even my Uncle Paul, he's come out with some absolutely asinine statements over the weekend about how a wrestler gets over. I mean, my gosh, talk about having your intelligence insulted. Uncle Paul and the rest of the team are doing it week in, week out, day in, day out, for that matter. As soon as they feel the heat from the fans, then they backtrack and they try to find excuses and make up excuses for what's really, really going on. But nonetheless, let's look at this situation. So I'm going to show you some clips as well. So you're going to see that this arena is not full at all. All right. Okay. Some nice fans that we have out there have actually taken shots of the building, and they've showed us around the building to show us what they are seeing. And take a look at this. Look at all those empty seats. You guys see that? See those empty seats right there on the second rung there? All right, look at the top, totally blacked out. You got about 3 layers that are totally blacked out there. It keeps going, blacked out, nobody sitting there. Look at all those empty seats where they were available for sale. All right, okay, and before anybody says, oh, well, they need the hard cam there, I'm going to show you SummerSlam 1992, and I'm going to show you WrestleMania 3, even WrestleMania 8. There was no need to block out an entire half of a stadium just to have a hard cam shoot into that ring. Look at that. Around the other side right there. Look how much the stage takes up right there. See all that? Yeah. That was during the Cody Rhodes match yesterday. Right there. Empty. Kind of reminds me when I went to Total Nonstop Anguish last year, and I was watching over Tricky Dicky Williams, who has been screwed tonight. So I just found out he actually lost his United States title to Baron Corbin. One of the best things that WWE had going for it, just squashed him right now to a guy who's been rejected so many times and somehow found his way back to the WWE. But they somehow thought that Baron Corbin, a man who desperately needs a gimmick and a character, he's needed that for the last 15 years, desperately needs something to get over, had zero reaction when he came out to the 33,000 fans, zero reaction, but yet they put him over Tricky Dicky Williams. Anyway, let's look at some of these other venues, just in case we have any of those trolls that may have weaseled their way in. Oh gosh, the good old days, people, the good old days. There it is, right there, SummerSlam 1992, which I was in attendance right there. 84,000 people. It was not blacked out anywhere. I was seated somewhere up here, somewhere over here. It was filled all the way around. And that entrance was a regular-sized entrance right there, okay? We got an overview here of WrestleMania 3 in 1987. You see that tiny little dot back there? That's the entrance right there. That place is packed to the rafters. When they used to say that, they meant it. All right, okay? So anybody out there, any of those little smart alecks that work their way in here that says the WWE is a success, you are either delusional, moronic, a complete idiot, or you're just in denial. That's the bottom line. The WWE have not been able to pull it off, and they've done it for 2 nights in a row. Why does SummerSlam have to be 2 nights in a row? Why? Wasn't it just WrestleMania? Even WrestleMania does not need to be 2 nights in a row. As my dear correspondent, Mikey T from The Ultimate Truth, told me, you don't need to give everybody a participation award. Just because you're not on the show for this pay-per-view. Heck, I mean, hey, they get a bloody pay-per-view every 3 weeks, so who cares? In fact, well, the pay-per-view doesn't look any different than Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. So what difference does it make? You're still going to be on TV. But there's a bunch of little internet mark nerds that have made their way into wrestling that cry about it when they're not on the pay-per-view. And then, the powers that be, so tough. They're not like Vince McMahon. As soon as they see a few crocodile tears, they say, oh, it's okay. Actually, it's okay. Do you want to take a picture? Do you want to take a picture with me? I'll give you the big point right there. Participation awards for pansy asses. For people that don't have thick skin. And that's the problem with the WWE today. That's the problem with AEW. They pretend to be big, tough, and macho, but they're really not. But anyway, let's go back to SummerSlam here. Nick Aldis. Let's talk about my man from the United Kingdom. A man who should have been treated like royalty yesterday. A man who has true talent, who has the look, the feel, the presentation, and the aura of a traditional sports entertainer. Made a major comeback. This man, former NWA champion, the great NWA, headed up by Billy Corgan. We're going to be talking a lot about that. I got my man Aaron Stevens coming back on from the NWA in a couple of weeks with Rico and I. But the great NWA, 10 pounds of gold, Nick Aldis, the man who was a man's man, legendary, could have been a great character, comes back yesterday to SummerSlam after I don't know how many year absences. Comes back, what happens? He's defeated by the most boring, bland, uneventful character, one of the most I mean, of course, Sami Zayn is on that list. And I heard that other friggin' useless Pratt has come back as well, Kevin Owens. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But nonetheless, Nick Aldis loses. Makes a big comeback and loses to Gunther. Had this big storyline. Could have gone further. All right. Comes back, gets obliterated by Gunther. Now, I would say Nick Aldis was one of the sizzle moments of SummerSlam. One of the very few. He's the positive. For anybody out there, I know we've had some comments, people saying, oh, I hate everything. No, I don't hate everything. All right. Okay. Absolutely not. I just call bullshit, and reality. Nick Aldis is fantastic. And if I had it my way, if I was booking, he would be at the top of the WWE. He'd be right there swimming around that world title picture 12 months of the year because he is that good and he deserves it. All right. Okay. It's been a lot of hard work and effort. And knowing myself coming from the old country to the United States, number one, that takes balls, number one, to leave everything you know behind, your entire culture. Because believe it or not, the British culture is not at all like the American culture. Not at all. Our personalities are not the same. So sometimes, it is difficult to work in another country, especially for a guy like Nick, left his parents behind, his friends behind, his little haunts behind, everything he left behind, and went into a whole other culture where people's personalities are completely different. All right. He should be at the top. This was absolutely awful storytelling, awful booking, and a complete insult to Nick Aldis. And if Nick Aldis ever sees this, I would encourage him to go back to the NWA, build his brand, become a successful character that can stand on his own 2 feet, create his own business. All right. And forget the ridiculous contract in WWE. Forget the humiliation and the embarrassment. Like I said, he was a superstar in the NWA, and he was forging something fantastic 6-7 years ago in the NWA. Of course, my buddy Chris Masters, I think he was in a faction with him. I think Tom Latimer was as well. And it was absolutely fantastic. So again, I'm very, very disappointed that the fizzle, Gunther, went over on Nick Aldis. That was absolutely atrocious. Some of the other things that took place, of course, botch after botch after botch. I think the man who lost the keys to his Rolls Royce, all right, they used to call him Powerhouse Hobbs. I think they should call him Flophouse Hobbs, because I think, and I'm going to show you guys the video footage of this if I can bring it up here. I guess he was on the turnbuckle trying to lift up, I think it was him. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was him. Trying to lift up one of the Samoans there, one of the Uso brothers, the Islanders, and couldn't lift him up. So much of a powerhouse, right? Couldn't lift him up. But instead of ad-libbing, right, just calling it in the ring, because you look like an idiot, because you can't do it, the idiot stays there and continues and continues and continues and continues to try and lift him up. Okay? I'm going to show you this idiocy right here. Here we go. Look at this, for those of you who haven't seen it. Count how many seconds he's doing this for, okay? But he can't quit it because he has no clue how to call a match on the fly. So he keeps going. Look, even the referee's trying to help him because they're so pathetic. Look at that. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. This is when amateurs get to the big stage. Sure, they have great cardiovascular conditioning. Sure, they can run the ropes. Sure, they can do nip-ups. Sure, they can last an hour in the ring. But at the end of the day, they can't call it in the ring. They can't call it on the fly. Everything needs to be scripted. And if something goes wrong, they just stay with it or go back to it to make it look even more fake than we all know it already is. Okay? When I say fake, and anybody tries to get heated out there, when I say fake, I mean it's part of a storyline. Okay? It's not real. It's not an athletic contest. Nobody really wins. Nobody really loses. It's a script, like what Stranger Things is fueled by, or any other TV show you watch out there. Twin Peaks is another one of my favorites right there, my wife and I. Twin Peaks, Twilight Zone, Stargate, SG-1, whatever you want it, whatever. Some of the greatest TV shows of all time. All right? That's all it is. It's a script. But these guys can't deviate from the script. I told you all, that's the first thing I would do. I would literally, when we screen for the Masters of Wrestling Sports Entertainment Company, because we're working on it. I've been working on it constantly all this week. We're getting some investors lined up, and we're going to put it together, people, because wrestling, like I said, I'm not making this up. $2 tickets, AEW Wembley Stadium, can't even sell out. SummerSlam, can't sell out. Botch after botch after botch. Attendance dwindling. Interest dwindling rapidly. At this point, WWE and AEW won't exist in 2 years. All right? They will not exist in 2. And even if they do, it's only to that small, minuscule, microscopic demographic that are out there, right? Okay? I mean, oh my gosh. But let's go back to SummerSlam a little bit here. Of course, we cannot go on without talking about night one and talking about Mr. Blonde Hair Kendall himself, Mr. Cody Rhodes, the worst of the Rhodes family, the least interesting of them all, in a main event against his bestie, the man who he kissed Dickhausen. Yeah, his best friend, his brother. Okay. But we expect they expect us to believe that they're in a heated feud. All right. But anyway, goes up against corporate Mark Phil, the man who truly has sold his soul. Because if you go back years ago, he was against the system. Mr. Straight Edge. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I know those who've been around him, and he's far from being straight edge. All right. Okay. I can't even stand that term anyway. Who freaking came up with that crap? Stay straight edge. Freaking ridiculous. If you have to say it, then there's something wrong with you. You got to keep confirming it to yourself. But anyway, which nobody's straight edge, because nobody is not a sinner except for our Lord and Savior, Yeshua, Jesus Christ. So let's end that conversation right now. All right. If you've taken any kind of medication in your life, whether it be ibuprofen or aspirin or whatever the heck it is, you're not straight edge. So knock that off right now. Any antibiotic, anything. Anyway, corporate Mark Phil comes out, of course, with his new sports supplements in his system. Comes out and he has a match with Cody Rhodes. And of course, no one gives a crap about Cody anymore. His time has passed. It's over. But who comes out in the main event? But Randy Orton. Okay. Now I have nothing against Randy Orton. He's one of the last true remaining superstars in the WWE. And once he goes, and once the last few remaining goes, they're over. They're done. They're finished. But Randy Orton comes out in the main event and RKO's Cody so that corporate Mark Phil can win. Now, again, I'm thinking, who cares? I told you, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes feud. They feuded over, I want to say 15 years ago. 15 friggin' years ago. All right. So who cares right now? Literally, who cares? I don't. I know you intellects, you Masterians don't care. Who cares? It's irrelevant. Randy is fantastic. He could be utilized in another way, but he doesn't need to be utilized against Cody Rhodes for the umpteenth time. I said again, time and time again, if you took, let's just say, any feud you want to get, any Ultimate Warrior against Hulk Hogan. So let's say the first time they really had a feud was 1990, all right? Then you flash forward 15 years later and you make them feud again. It would have put us in 2005. Can you imagine if they had dusted off the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior feud in 2005 after they did it in 1990? Who cares? It's over. It's finished. It's done. It doesn't mean anything. What would have been tremendous is if Cody Rhodes has finally turned heel. But it looks like, sadly, they're going in the direction of Johnny, what's his name? Johnny Thugonomics, whatever the heck his name, John Cena, where he never turned heel, and the fans just got so pissed off with him in the end, they just completely switched off. That's what they're going to do to Cody Rhodes. They're just going to get everybody so infuriated with him being a good guy, a nice guy, a face, that in the end, no one's going to care. By the way, if you haven't already, thumbs up that video. Do it right now, and life will be better for you. Life will be better for us. That's the least amount of effort you can do. That pushes us into the algorithm. That helps us out greatly on the channel. It requires this much energy. You can do it with your finger. You can do it with your tip of your nose. All you got to do is look at that thumbs up icon on the screen underneath my face and hit it. All right. It's not going to charge you any money. It's free. All right. Okay. But what's not free is becoming a channel member. That's $4.99 a month. And I want you all to become a channel member because, like I said, next week, the live stream is going straight for the channel members only. This week, we have 2 member videos coming out. And like I said, by the end of the year, maybe we'll have 3 or 4 videos in the member section a week, and maybe 2 or 3 in the free version of the channel. All right. Okay. We're going to operate. We're going to expand our horizons here on the channel, and we need your help rather in order to do that. So make sure you do that. All right. So coming back to this, Randy Orton comes out, RKO's Cody Rhodes, CM Punk wins. Again, who cares at this point? Literally, who cares? One of the biggest takeaways from night 1, because I got alerted to this from my bodyguard, the baddest man alive, talking about Mr. Jefferson Flair. He texted me last night because Brock Lesnar, and this is unbelievable. When I actually went back and watched it, I actually realized what Brock Lesnar actually said, and it was bad. All right. Brock Lesnar lost to Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right. The only giant, the only one in the entire WWE roster. Think about that. Think about that as I premise what I'm about to say. Think about this for a second, right? Everyone's saying Obi-Wan Kenobi is your only hope. He's your only hope. He's the future of the WWE. Well, he's a giant in a land of garden gnomes. Okay, so who cares? Because he can obliterate everybody. So if he has 0 competition, 0 threat, then he cannot be the future of the WWE. All right? I think what Brock translated was trying to say is this is what the WWE should be like. This is what I want the future to be. But sadly, it's not going to be because his other statement was, and I'm going to try and see if I can get Mikey T, if you're watching this, text me when Brock Lesnar said his statement to Obi-Wan Kenobi there at the end of the match. Brock Lesnar actually took the microphone and said, for those of you at home watching this shit. He used the word shit, okay? For those of you at home watching this shit. Now, of course, I'm an intellect, all right? You all are, all right? We're the smartest of the bunch. But at the end of the day, even if I wasn't that bright, when somebody says watching this shit, I would interpret that to mean this person thinks it's total shit. Brock Lesnar embarrassed the WWE on live pay-per-view TV. It happened last night, okay? And even Obi-Wan Kenobi himself was confused. And I'm confused because at the end of the day, sure, Obi-Wan is an imposing figure. He's massive. I'm sure he's got some sports supplements running through his veins. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not saying that he might. I'm saying he does because of that size. I mean, it's clearly bloody obvious. All right. So at the end of the day, but he's a giant. He's a giant amongst garden gnomes. Now, if you tell me he's supposed to go into a match with, say, a Finn Balor, a Sami Zayn, that disgusting, despicable, putrid friggin' Punk, the dirtiest man alive, the man who smells, Dominic Mysterio, someone like him, or, I mean, Drew's gone. Even LA Knight, even old Shawn himself would get obliterated because the size difference is unbelievable. Now, back in the day, let's make the equivalent of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's a Sid Justice, okay? He's a Zeus, okay? But who did Sid Justice and Zeus have to feud with? Well, take your pick. Earthquake was massive. The one-man gang, Akeem was massive. Crush was massive. Hulk Hogan was massive. The Undertaker was massive. See where I'm going? Sid Justice. I mean, who else you got that was massive at the time there? I mean, it's just an endless list. Giant Gonzalez. See what I'm saying? Razor Ramon. Diesel. You can't say somebody's going to be the future of the company if they have zero competition to feud with. Get real. Even what's his name? The man who lost the keys to his Rolls Royce. He's not that tall. All right. I've stood next. Well, actually, I'm a friggin' giant, but at the end of the day, I've stood next to him. Right. Okay. I stand 6'3". All right. We're pretty much eye to eye. Royce Keys. Okay. This guy, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is got to be 6'6", 6'7", but he is a mass monster. He's over 300 pounds. So again, if I see a guy going in the ring with him who weighs 230, 240, 250, it's no match. He's going to lose. There's no equal footing at all. It's over. The match may not, the feud might as well not even begin because it's over. And I think Brock Lesnar was just showing some frustration again yesterday. Brock Lesnar's only there for the money. He doesn't care. The passion's over. It's finished. He's there to make sure that his daughter has enough money after college. He's there to make sure the family are taken care of for generations to come. Probably the same as Randy Orton. The passion is gone. The flame has been put out behind the eyes. Certainly not feeling the heat of SummerSlam, those people. Absolutely not. All right. I'm going to get to your comments as we go down here, but I want to get some more about SummerSlam out first. Thank you for the super gifts and super chats. They're very welcome and needed. All right. So if you want to give a super chat or a super thanks, go ahead. But it doesn't, you don't have to get a question answered. All right. Channel members, you know that. Channel members, I'm going to read every single one of your comments out loud. Your questions, channel members, are going to get reviewed here. We're going to get talked about. Sunshine is here. Hem Street is here. Shemp is here. Ryan Potter is here. I see him right now at the side of my screen. Daniel Muzzin, you need to become a channel member. James JH, you need to become a channel member. Some people in here that probably have some good things to say. E. Lazard, but I want you to become channel members. That's how we do things here. A one-time payment a month to become a channel member, and you get your questions answered. And, of course, you won't be going to black next week when all the live streams go straight to channel members only. So night 2 is kicked off today to another lackluster reception. 33,000 fans out of a 73,000 seat stadium. But nonetheless, it started off tonight, and I heard some horrific news that they made another match, an impromptu match with basically 4 jobbers. As far as I'm concerned, we're in there. Let me check what Mikey T just sent me live and in living color right here. He said that, come on, Mikey T, where is it right here? He's talking about a 4-way match they made. Okay, that was it. Finn Balor, Sami Zayn against Gunther, and a returning Kevin Owens. Gosh. And apparently, Kevin Owens won this match and became a number one contender for the world title. I just don't even know what to say. I have no words for that kind of nonsense. Kevin Owens is a friggin'... I wouldn't even consider him a wrestler. I don't even consider that guy a wrestler. Kevin Owens is so friggin' bland. No one, again, Jacques Rougeau, I heard some discrepancies against Jacques, and I'm still pissed off by the tickler making fun of the Rougeau family name last week of that other dud of a pay-per-view Redemption in AEW. Rougeau, I heard some backstory that Rougeau trained Kevin Owens and he wanted a cut of his salary. And I said, yes, he should get a cut of it. All right. Because without him, Kevin Owens wouldn't be anywhere. That's for sure. Obviously, Jacques Rougeau pulled in his connections to get him into the big time. Because I tell you what, looking at Kevin Owens now, he's not a standout at all. I would just look at this guy and I'd say, listen, pal, here's a razor. Go and shave your face. There's a tanning booth right down the street. And also, you may want to head to the creative department and get a decent gimmick and character for who you are. Because right now, the whole Kevin Owens bullshit doesn't work for me. All right? You're not version 2 of Tank Abbott. And at least Tank Abbott, he looked like a legit fighter. You just look like a freaking guy who locks yourself up in your friggin' man cave all weekend and plays video games. And you probably do the same damn thing when you come back from work at the end of the day. All right? That's all he looks like to me. In fact, you may as well just call him the video gamer. All right? At least he would have had a damn gimmick. But anyway, nonetheless, he won. But like I said, the bigger news that came out so far tonight was this whole situation with Tricky Dicky Williams. I don't know what they're doing here. This is awful. To take the belt off of him. Wait a minute. What else we got going on here? Oh my gosh. What the hell is this? Oh, there's just. I'm just looking at news coming in live and in living color here. Who paid? Oh my gosh. Dickhausen. Oh, look at this nonsense. Dickhausen dressed up as Bret Hart. Friggin' little gimp, that guy. This is ridiculous. I forgot that little dweeb was in the WWE. Of course, Braun Steiner was not in SummerSlam at all this weekend, which is a travesty. At least if they made that fatal four-way match, they should have brought in Braun Breaker, but of course they wouldn't. It's the WWE creative team. They're trying to bankrupt the company so they can get out of their $5 billion debt, as we hypothesize. All right. Now, let's talk about something else, an overarching theme that is at SummerSlam. Let's talk about that entrance for a moment, because it was brought to my attention that it was a lot of triangles, a lot of pyramid imagery in that stage. And of course, we know that imagery is everything. Of course, it goes back into Freemasonry. It goes back to the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill and all that business. So I was looking at the stage and I investigated it more closely. And I said, yeah, I can see it. Definitely some of that symbolism going on there. But of course, we know that the WWE sold its soul to Hollywood. That's figuratively and literally what has happened. So it wouldn't surprise me that the subliminal messaging are in there. And speaking of subliminal messaging, have you seen the awful state of the ring and the ring apron? Oh my gosh. I don't even think it looks like SummerSlam this year because I can't tell if it's Street Fighter 2. I'm sure some of these friggin' nerd wrestlers would wish that they were doing a simulation of Street Fighter 2, like that other nerd, the former Omega man, Kenny. All right, okay, and all those other dweebs at AEW. But nonetheless, Street Fighter 2 plastered on the apron, ad after ad after ad, plastered on the canvas in the middle of the ring. What am I watching? What am I watching? I'm watching a gigantic billboard with a bunch of ads on it. Quite frankly, people, I think the only thing that's keeping the World Whining Entertainment or World Women's Entertainment going is all their sponsors. That's it. No more, no less. It is not pay-per-view buy rate. It is not the amount of people that tune in every week. We know this week that Netflix put out a statement. They are pissed at the WWE for their lackluster numbers. They're not drawing new fans. They're not even retaining old ones. All right. Same can be said for AEW. Both of those ships are sinking. All right. It is like literally somebody sound the horn because it's all going down. All right. Okay. Somebody put out the flames of SummerSlam this year with a gigantic bazooka, whatever the crap, the super soakers, those guns the fake toy guns that used to spray the water. Yeah. Super Soaker 5000 just sprayed a bunch of water on the WWE and put out their flames permanently this weekend. My gosh, they didn't even have the balls to create a SummerSlam logo this year that had fire on it because they know they're not on fire. They stayed away from the yellow and the red colors. They said, "Oh well, hey man, we're too soft for that these days. Let's just go with purple. Let's go with purple, a cooler color because we're simmering down now." It's all in the messaging. It's all subliminal. It's right there. It's all hidden in plain sight. All you got to do is open your eyes and look for it. All right. Okay. You intellects, you Masterians see it. All right. And for those who've come in the channel and haven't been able to see it, you're welcome. We just open your eyes to it right there. Facts are facts. I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm not negative. Like I said, I think good thing seeing Nick Aldis back in the ring. I commend that. I commend Tricky Dicky Williams. I commend Brock Lesnar for what he did in that match. Some of the other things I saw that may have been good. I mean, I'm clutching at straw. I never watched it, by the way, people. Just so you know that. Again, I'm not spending a dime on the WWE. Absolutely not. Of course, I did when I was a youth. All right. Because Uncle Paul, tight-fisted that he was even back then, wouldn't even send me a copy of the WWF magazine. I still had to go out and purchase it in the United Kingdom. I think it was £2.95, £2.95 once a month. Yeah, I had to pay almost $5 a month. I purchased the action figures because, again, Uncle Paul didn't want to open his purse strings. He didn't want to rock the boat back then, because he was politicking with old Hickenbottom to try and get to the top. Problem was, they were good. They politicked their way to the top, but when they got there, they don't know how to handle it. What a surprise. All right. Sometimes people are a good gift of the gab. When push comes to shove, you see they don't have anything to back it up with. All right. And that's the deal. Hunter, and again, but I also want to state this because I know Uncle Paul keeps getting a bad rap over and over and over again. People blame him entirely. He is a patsy, people. He is a chief content officer. Content is ambiguous. Content what? A backstage segment? He's not in charge of the creative storylines, and he's certainly not in charge of hiring and firing and who goes over and who doesn't. He is an actor. He is a player in a game of chess that the WWE is playing. He is basically, just like everybody else, hired under contract. He has no stakes in the company. He does not own the company. He is not part of the chair. He's not part of the board. Unlike the Tooth Fairy, Mr. Twinkle Toes himself, Mr. Hollywood, Dwayne Johnson, who was only in the WWE for 5 or 6 years, never more than that. But and some people say he's the greatest of all time. Yeah, really? Think about it. 5, 6 years, ran off to Hollywood, came back, did that stupid segment where he played guitar in the ring like a little wuss. Come on, really? Really? Anyway, let's get into some of these comments from our wonderful, wonderful channel members here. We got BD Wolfgang in the house. Ray Dotson. Sunshine is here. Robert Soso, you need to become a channel member, my man. I've seen you quite a bit. Again, next week, live streams go straight to the channel members only. Sunshine, enjoy. Don't forget to like, share, and hype. Good to see you all. Indeed, Sunshine. Vitamin Vision TV, send us a super chat, a super donation. I appreciate that greatly. They sent us $5. That helps contribute to the cause here. Because like I said, it is expensive. Times are expensive. And thank you for helping us get through these times. So I appreciate that. Vitamin Vision said, I just quit watching night 2. This is boredom slam. What had this product turn into? It's just a large soulless production. Indeed it is. And Vitamin Vision, I want you to become a channel member because I noticed you did that. If you become a channel member right now, you can interact with me all day long on these live streams. Okay, so just go ahead and do that. PMD25, become a channel member. Melatonin Slam, exactly. Melatonin Slam is what it should be renamed. Ray Dotson said, wrestling is indicative of the state of the world. And yes, it is. Everything has gone downhill. May the true King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, bring us home soon. Uncle Paul Triple H is not a King of Kings. I never thought about that. Actually, he uses that statement, doesn't he? Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He uses the King of the Kings. No, nobody's King of the Kings. You know what? There's certain things that you don't bring in entertainment, and that is faith. You don't make fun of faith. You don't use it in an entertainment storyline. That's one thing that I completely disagree with, doing that. And, of course, involving children like that other she, whatever the heck he is, that Kyle Fletcher in AEW that flipped off that kid. One of the most disgusting individuals. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Do it right now. I know some of you have forgotten because you're engrossed. You're feeling the heat of the masters of wrestling, the leaders of sports entertainment, but you need to hit the thumbs up. That greatly helps the channel. That helps us get out so more and more and more people can come and witness this jaw-dropping, thought-provoking, eye-opening content. They want to be with us, the best of the best, the true leaders, the ones who do not sugarcoat, the one who tell you the unequivocal truth and go behind the scenes like we did this week. All right, we had the author of the Greg the Hammer Valentine book. Nobody else had him on their show, but he chose to grace us with his presence on our show. He's a truly tremendous writer and publisher. And we broke the news, all right? Despite other carpetbaggers jumping on the bandwagon and trying to get on the news. But no, we covered the news. And in fact, PW Insider actually published an article about us and about that very episode out there. Of course, the leaders in wrestling news media for many, many years. Thank you, Mikey T, and thank you, Mike Johnson, for publishing that piece for us here. Again, accept no substitutes, ladies and gentlemen. You need to hitch your wagons to the true leader in sports entertainment, not just in podcasts, the true leader in sports entertainment. We are the masters of wrestling, and we want you to be part of our team. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you join, make sure you thumbs up, like, and spread this wide and far. Get a link of these videos, put them on your social media, put them on Facebook, put them on X. Tell people you need to come over to the Masters of Wrestling, all right? You need to listen to the best of the best, the most educated team. The entire team have actually done it, been there, done it, stepped foot through a rope, actually wrestled, actually put a ring together, actually done commentary, actually been backstage, talking to guys who've done it. Not like some of these other podcasts where the guys have never even set foot in a ring. So again, they're the least likely candidates that should ever be talking about sports entertainment, because at the end of the day, they've never lived it. All right? They may be a fan, but they've never actually lived it and been backstage to really talk about it. Let me take a breath. Sunshine. Oh my goodness. All those empty seats, how pathetic. Certainly not what I ever experienced. Yeah, I tell you what, SummerSlam 92, WrestleMania 3, 1987, sold out. They were turning people away. Now, they can't even sell 1,000 tickets. They can't even sell 1,000 tickets on the last day of SummerSlam. How about that? Ray Dotson says, I like TNA wrestling better than WWE or AEW, but TNA is still lacking, though. I was born in 1992. Bret Hart versus Davey Boy for the Intercontinental title is a classic. Yes, it is. Hey, Ray Dotson, I want you to check out NWA Power. Of course, Billy Corgan's organization. I believe NWA can be found on Tubi right now. The full episodes, you can check them out on YouTube. Check out the NWA, my man. True classic sports entertainment wrestling with true characters. Actual true characters that don't break the fourth wall. What? I was just having a conversation this morning with my wife about this, all right? At the end of the day, why has wrestling become lackluster? Why is it not the same? Because they break the fourth wall. And they do it all the time. All the time. Just the fact that somebody grabs a microphone and says, I broke my back to get into this business. I slept in my car and that you've already broken the fourth wall. What an idiot you are. What an idiot you are. Back in the day, when Bret Hart would talk about defending the belt, he would just reference, I'm going to defend the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt. He would never say, in this business. He would never talk about things outside of the business. It was an organization contained in a fictitious world called the World Wrestling Federation. What a novel idea that is. But then along the way, somebody decided, let's break the fourth wall. Let's start talking about our contracts in a promo. Let's start talking about the amount of reps we did at the gym the other day. Let's talk about our wives. Think, McFly. Think. You just broke the fourth wall. It'd be like watching a movie or a TV show, and all of a sudden the actor turns to the camera in the middle of a dramatic scene and says, man, I'm so glad I finally broke into this business, man. It took me a long time. I struggled on the streets of Hollywood. And then they look back at the camera and continue with the lines. Think, McFly. Think. That's what's killed sports entertainment. And like I said, when we put our company together, when the Masters of Wrestling debuts its flagship show, which you're all going to love the title of that, by the way. When we debut our flagship show, it's going to take a while. It's going to take us moving a boulder up the hill. Like I said, right now, I've got all the details figured out with the entire team. Rico Constantino, Mario Mancini, Paul Roma. I'm going to bring in Pat Tanaka. I'm going to bring in some other people. My man, the gatekeeper, BMC, my personal manager. Of course, I'm talking about the ambassador, my bodyguard, the baddest man alive. Once we figure out the details and we get that investment that we're talking about right now, we're going to put together a show that's going to hit the demographic that want wrestling. Right now, the WWE and AEW are just content with the fan base they have. And they're dwindling. Like I said, even those have got more intelligence than to stick around and continue to watch it and support it. But at the end of the day, they're not servicing a larger demographic. Those are the ones that took the WWE and WCW worldwide. For some reason, for some unknown reason, inexplicable, call it moronic, call it agenda-driven, call it just plain old friggin', I don't know, I'm lost for words, idiocy. friggin' corruption, whatever the heck you want to call it. They decided to push those fans away. They pushed them away. And nobody's able to get them back because they're missing what we have discovered. And now that we have discovered it and we know what the winning ingredient is, we're going to build it. At the end of the day, why jump onto a sinking ship? If they're sinking, why do I want to jump on it? Why do we want to jump? We don't. It's sinking. We need to build a new ship. We need to raise a new ship and put it on that ocean and let it set sail. And that's what we're going to do. So the Masters of Wrestling, like I said, any help that we can get here, like I said, if you guys become channel members, all this other stuff, that is helping contribute to what our plans are going to be. All right. We want to evolve. I'm the type of person, I want to keep going. I don't want to stay complacent. I want to go out there more. I want to find the next, what we're doing next here. How is the Masters of Wrestling leaping off of that YouTube and into these buildings, into these arenas? And how are we getting our fans, the ones that grew with us, that's you guys, how do we get them to come? And then we interact with them. They're part of the journey. They're with us. That's where we're going. All right. We're not content with just staying in one spot. We want to continue to evolve, unlike WWE and AEW. All right, let's go down here. Ray Dotson, Carl the Madman. I refuse to watch night 2 of this year's event. It should have been renamed Slumber Slam. It had no build, no interest, no entertainment. Sunshine agrees with that. JTEL, you need to become a channel member. I see you here all the time. Become a channel member. Ray Dotson says, SummerSlam 1992 from Wembley Stadium in London, England. Sounds like a fun time. Back when wrestling still captured the imagination. Nick Aldis does a great job as SmackDown general manager, but wish he wrestled full-time. Yeah, indeed, because he looks like a true wrestler. All right, and he's a fantastic wrestler. I met him one time in 2018. 2018, I met Nick Aldis. And again, very professional, very polite. Nothing disparaging to say about him. Very good guy. And yes, SummerSlam 92. Like I said, you were born in 92, Ray. I can tell you right now unequivocally, SummerSlam 92 had the heat. It had the heat. It was absolutely electrifying. The kids had Ultimate Warrior face paint on. We had the British Bulldog, the Union Jack draped across shoulders. There were flash bulbs everywhere. It was packed. I had never seen at that point in my life so many people in my life. 84,000 people descended upon Wembley Stadium on August 31st, 1992? My gosh, it was phenomenal. All right. In fact, I just texted Luke the Bushwhacker the other day, who's having his final match in Australia at 79 years of age. And we talk often here and there. And I just said to him, I just found out you're doing your last match. And I wanted to thank you, Luke, for entertaining me when I was a kid, for putting forth your best effort, for always staying in character, never breaking the fourth wall, and telling the story of wrestling the way it was. Because like I said, I think it's important to cherish those who put in the best effort they could, especially to entertain us as kids. All right. And I consider Luke a friend of mine now. I've worked with him at an arena show in Canada last year. And that was an absolute blessing and a half. That was. It was wonderful. But anyway, let's continue down here. Ray Dawson says, hey, Sunshine. Ray Dawson, Nick Aldis was great in NWA and TNA. It's the Costanzas in the house. He calls it Summer Scam. Ray Dotson sent us some jewels, some donations. Ray, thank you for continuing to help fuel us here. It's greatly needed and appreciated. I thank you so much, Ray, for sending us your contributions. Appreciate it. Sunshine says, hey, Costanza. Ray Dotson says, World Wrestling Evil and all evil wrestling. Yeah, you're not wrong. There's no way you're wrong. Ray Dotson says, I'm not sure why Baron Corbin Bishop Dyer went back to WWE. He seemed to be doing better in MLW as one half of the Scott. Yeah, he did. I met him. I worked with him in MLW last year. Nice guy, kind of short in the way he talks and everything else. Don't understand it. I don't understand why on earth he would go back to WWE. They already botched him in the past, and they're already like they give him a belt, but who cares? He came out to zero reaction at SummerSlam tonight. Ray Dotson sent some more donations. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for your generosity. We appreciate it greatly. James JH, become a channel member. Guardian of Chaos, my man. God bless you too, brother. My man, this man's been on the show. I've been on Power and Glory in the past. Dear friend, Mario Mancini, and of course, Paul Roma up there. Of course, Paul and Mario run Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, where they train people to be real superstars in sports entertainment, not like these phonies who you see today. It's the Costanza says the Chaos made it to the Masters of Wrestling podcast. Yes, he's been here before. It's the Costanza. He's been on an episode with Paul, Mario, and I. Sunshine says, I just see Pukey Punk in a dress. Are you saying that the corporate Mark Phil actually wears dresses? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I've heard that his wife doesn't even know. She's confused in the head. She doesn't know what she is or who to date, rather. But at the end of the day, which may explain the trifecta of the corporate Mark Phil, Bailey, Mrs. Macho Man, and AJ Lee, the lady who sits on her lap during interviews. Yeah, leaves little to the imagination of what's really going on with those people. My gosh. All right, let's continue to go down here. Hem Street says, hello, Sunshine. Hi, Hem Street. Okay, let's go down here. Hi. All right, Sunshine says, Brock's shit statement was probably the highlight of the show, in my opinion. Brock is just collecting paychecks. Yes, he is. Like I said at the top of the show, for those who didn't hear it earlier, and by the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do it right now. Come on. It requires this much effort, and it helps us greatly. It pushes us into the algorithm. Come on. I'm watching it right now. I'm watching it in real time. All right. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up button. He actually made a statement where he said, for those of you at home watching this shit. Now, come on, people. When you say watching this shit, it obviously means that he thinks it's shit, because he does. Come on. Let's get real. All right. Hi, Shem. Ryan Potter says, Obafemi, feminine, is the alpha male of the WWE. Curious, Ryan Potter, why did you put feminine next to Obafemi? Is it because of the word femi in there? Curious. I got a good gimmick for that guy, but of course they won't go for it. Shem says, hi, Hem Street. Brock, Hem Street says, Brock was never happy about wanting to wrestle Obi-Wan once again. Yeah, I'm not surprised why. It's a waste of time. Sunshine says, there are some great comments and questions in the chat. Please become a channel member so you can interact with Emir and the chat. Thank you in advance. Like Sunshine says, that's how we're doing interactions with you guys. So if you are a channel member, your name will turn green. You need to hit the join button and become a channel member. Once you sign up and become a channel member, then I'll read out your comments as well. You notice I'm skipping over some of the comments because I'm being fair to my channel members, right? They don't give us a bunch of super chats like other channels have done, where they just pay $5 or $10 to ask a question. We've avoided that by just saying become a channel member for $4.99 a month. All right. And then you get all your questions asked. And of course, next week, you're going to get all the live streams exclusively channel members, because like I said, I want to reward you guys. I want to give you guys more content, more bang for your buck than anybody else can give. And we think that's fair. So again, if you want to interact with us and you want your comments read and your questions answered, then you need to hit join and become a channel member. That's how we do it right here. Sunshine says he doesn't really have Brett's gear on, or does he? I think little Dickhausen was wearing something like Bret Hart's gear tonight. Hem Street says, yes, he has a copy of Brett's gear on. I'm wondering about the numbers of free tickets WWE had. Well, they must have handed out at least 1,000 free tickets tonight, because I remember like 2 hours ago, almost 1,000 tickets were left still for sale. They couldn't even sell half of the arena. Why they don't make SummerSlam a one-night event? As my ambassador, my manager, texted me earlier. Go back to the 3,500 seat arenas. Go back to them. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of years ago, AEW thought they'd make a big splash in Southern California, where they went to a 10,000 seat brand new arena. 10,000 seat. And I wasn't too far from it. And I remember I went past there the night it was taking place, and I saw the people who parked the cars. So I pulled in there, and I said, out of curiosity, my man, how many tickets were sold for this event? 10,000 seat capacity, 2,800 only. That was 2 years ago. So basically, almost 7,500 seats in a 10,000 seat arena were not purchased for an AEW Dynamite and Collision taping. And AEW is a success too, so I'm told. Freaking moronic, whoever thinks that. All right, okay. Olga is in the house. All right, she is in the house. Wait a minute, we skipped way down here. What the heck's going on here? Okay, where are we? Right here. Let me go back up here. Come on, computer. Or actually, it's not a computer. It's actually the YouTube right now, because we got so many comments coming in. It's going slow. All right, so let me go down here. Olga, hey folks, Olga, hello. How you doing? All right, okay. We will chat later this week. Sunshine, I'll be talking with you later on the phone. Hemstreet says hi. Olga says, haven't seen any of SummerSlam. Don't worry, Olga. We cover it all here. You're not missing anything. If you want to see some of the clips, you'll see what I'm talking about. Is some of the atrocities that have taken place so far. Shem says hi. Going down here. Sunshine says, chat. Don't forget to like the super chats. Also, please. We appreciate them so much. Yes, again, Sunshine. Again, just slap. If you want to give us a donation, a super chat, which of course you could write off in your taxes at the end of the year, please do so. All right. Okay. It greatly helps the channel here. It's the Costanza says, become a member. Forget that Starbucks line. Oh, yes. Of course. My infamous Starbucks line. I'm sure many of you go and spend $4.99 just quite willingly on a cup of coffee that you could fix yourself at home. And then you drink it. It goes in one end and you pee it out the other. All right. But this is the Masters of Wrestling. You spend $4.99 here. It goes to a good cause and you're getting plenty of content. Like I said, you're going to get every live stream moving forward next week. Total interaction with us, access to our members only videos that are going to increase starting this week. I got 2 coming out this week, and we're going to cut back on the free videos. We usually do 7. Next week is going to be 6. And as we move closer and closer to the end of the year, I'm going to bring it down to maybe 3 and then 4 for the members. All right. That's how we're going to do things here. We're going to expand. It's a true community, a true family here. Of course, there's other perks to becoming a member. T-Done, G-Man, I checked. I've got to resend out those gifts I was going to send you guys, all right? Okay, so please, I've packaged them up. I'm taking them to the post office this week. They're on their way, all right? So, yes, our channel members also get free giveaways. So we'll start that next week again, channel members. Whoever's first in the chat next week from the channel members. Of course, if you've already been given a gift, then it's just a different subject already. But if you haven't and you're first in the chat, or whoever else second in the chat, if you haven't had a gift, I'll mail something out to you. Again, free of charge. And of course, you're going to get 10% discount off of our merchandise. I have to work on that, people. I've picked up more work. Of course, you all know I'm writing Rico's life story. That's going to be coming out hopefully next year. So I'm working on that. I'm doing other things during the day. I'm working on wrestling. This Friday night, I got a match I got to prepare for. Of course, I'm going to vanquish that. I'm going to win that because, come on, I'm the master. I'm the best of the best sports entertainer out there. Of course, definitely no questions asked out here in Southern California, but of course, in the rest of the country as well. So I got to prepare for that too. All right. Hemstreet says the Netflix execs that were on Raw left over the 3 little Dickhausens and the cheerleaders open segment were pissed off. Wow. I'm glad they left. All right. Stupid. Idiotic. Traffic Jam gives us a super chat. Thank you for your donation. We greatly appreciate that, Traffic Jam. I'm going to heart that right now. Obafemi will not save the WWE. God bless you, Amir. He won't. Like I said, he's one key player, but he doesn't have anybody else to play with. Do you remember WCW said where the big boys play? You had the Giant. You had Hulk Hogan. You had Kevin Nash. You had Scott Hall. You had Booker T. You had these giants of the ring, the Yeti. You had these giants, Earthquake, John Tenta. You had all these big guys in there, Scott Steiner, Sid Vicious. All right. Who's Obi got to go against? Finn Balor? Dickhausen? Who's that other little twit? McDougal? McDonald? Again, they've built out an entire cruiserweight division that has spilled over to the entire roster. Even Seth Rollins, all right? I think, what's he, 6 foot? Seth Rollins can't stand toe-to-toe to this guy. He's too small, all right? Seth Rollins would be a cruiserweight back in the 90s. He's no bigger than Jericho, the man who recently lost his mind. You know, again, they've built up an entire roster of cruiserweights, and now they have one giant. What are they going to do with him? I heard Big Cass is on his way back. Okay, so you have a match against Big Cass. Then what happens? Who's next? You bring back Goldberg? Actually, I heard William is interested in going to AEW. I mean, I don't know. I think he lost his mind, too. He probably headbutted that freaking locker room door one too many times and rattled his cage a bit. And I don't know what the hell he's thinking about going to AEW just to get insulted like the Rougeau brothers were. I actually texted Jacques Rougeau this week because I was so disgusted by the way AEW, what they did and what they allowed and some of the stupidity on the commentary. And I told him, and he was very appreciative of what I said. So, yeah, Jacques Rougeau, true legend. Villain says, hello, everybody. Olga says, hi. Ray Dotson says, I need to watch NWA. I've seen snippets of it before. It looks better than today's mainstream. Yeah, it does. It's friggin' awesome. It's clean. They don't break the fourth wall. They've got some good characters. They're growing some great storylines there. And it's a great product. It's classy. It's something you can sit down and watch with your kids. All right. It's absolutely fantastic. Ray Dodson says, I like MLW too. Steve Vendetta, you need to become a channel member, my man. I keep telling you time and time again, you need to hit the join button. And then we can interact because that's what the rules I've set out here. I appreciate you, my man. I got a lot here from people who are not channel members. So again, sorry, but I can't read out your questions and statements on the air because that's the deal I made. Become a channel member, hit the join button, and then we'll read it and you can interact with us. Villain says, what kid didn't love the Whackers of the Bush? Exactly. They were fantastic. Ray Dotson says, I'm losing respect for Cuckman Punk and Crybaby Cody. That's a good one. Crybaby Cody. Well, I lost all respect for both of them. I honestly, I think Cody Rhodes doesn't know what he is. He's trying to pretend to be Ric Flair and Triple H from 1994. Triple H from 2004 with Evolution, and he's trying to be Ric Flair, but the problem is he doesn't actually have a character. He's just Cody Rhodes, a man who travels around on a bus. I guess you could call him the bus driver. Or the passenger. I don't know, that's about it. Ray Dotson says Seth Rollins is just annoying. Yeah, he is. He's a dollar store Sam Smith knockoff. For those of you who don't know who Sam Smith is, you're not missing anything. He's a complete deviant who's completely confused in the brain, and he came out doing some rather satanic things on the Grammy stage a few years ago, pushing an agenda of filth. But anyway, let's keep going down here. We've gone way too far down here. All right, let me go back up here. Ray Dotson says, I wonder if Vince McMahon will buy WWE back or some others. I don't think it's going to happen, Ray Dotson. I mean, we've talked about this before. Wishful thinking, I think, that the McMahons get back involved. Too much time has elapsed. Vince is old now. He's almost 80. He's just, like I said, he's past it. It's done. He's not going to be buying it back. Plus, the product's so freaking tarnished at this point. It's done. I wouldn't buy it. If I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't buy the WWE Internet. I mean, I may buy it just for the video library and then license that out and keep playing it in like old WrestleManias and stuff. But I'd probably erase everything. I wouldn't even bother with the library after 2005. So I'd literally pretend like everything past 2005 never happened, and nobody would care. I would basically just license out everything from the late 70s through the 80s, 90s, up until 2005, and call it quits right there. That'd be the end of that. All right. Sunshine says, hi, Olga. Great to see you here. Tinkster's in the house. She says, hey now, Master Amir. She's probably saying, hey now. Fantastic job. That's what she was saying there. Olga says, best wishes on your match. Don't worry, Olga. I will be annihilating, obviously, the other jabronis that I'll be in the ring with, of course, because they pale in comparison to the Master Amir. Of course, you're looking at the greatest in this incarnation, trained by the best, mentored by the best in the business. All right. Okay. And of course, with you fine people backing me, of course, the sky is the limit and nothing is impossible. Of course, with my Lord and Savior, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, number one, front center in my driver's seat. All right. Shemp says, Vince is outraged with how this product is today and the direction it. Of course he is. I mean, if he has any emotions left, he's got to be. I mean, at the end of the day, gosh, it's like I said, if I built this podcast up and I sold it to somebody and they made a mockery of it in the future, you can't help but be pissed off. Sunshine says, someone stole my gift last week. Not saying who. Laughing my ass off. What gift? Oh, you sent a gift, Sunshine, and somebody stole it? Is that the way it works? Did we have a ham and egger come in here, a carpetbagger who stole the gift you sent to the channel? I want to find out who this person is and slap him around a bit. Sheesh. Olga says, is Vince outraged? Sometimes I wonder. That's a good point. Where are we going? It jumped again. It's the Costanza says, Oba is in the wrong generation. He would have fit in the 90s and 80s. Abso-friggin-lutely. Villain says, almost. Not sure what that means. Sunshine says, Olga, can't you imagine how pissed off Vince is over the mess of his baby? Yeah. Villain says, Vince should date Madonna. Interesting combination right there, Villain. I love how Villain just comes in here and just sprinkles something totally random here, Vogue, indeed. Vince, Vogue. Olga says, laugh out loud. The Office was funny. WWE, not good, not really funny. Ray Dotson says, I would buy the WWE library and show it up till 2017. Well, you're being more generous than I, Ray Dotson, because there were some things still good, but after that, no thanks. I think that's the consensus. Traffic Jam says, Emir, where are the real heel factions in WWE? Indeed, where are the real heels at all, Traffic Jam? Because at the end of the day, I don't see any of them in there. There are no heels at all. Of course, you all know I'm a heel when I go out there. But you know why I'm a heel? You know why I'm a heel, people? Because I speak the truth. Because I'm not afraid. And like I said, in a world of liars, truth tellers are despised because they speak common sense. They speak wisdom. They speak intellect. Now, I admit, I'm a snob. Absolutely, 100%. All right? 100% I'm a snob. I'm from the old country. Come on. There's a reason some of these people say, hey, I saw you on a package of Quaker Oats. I said, hey, I'll take that as a compliment. My ancestors. At the end of the day, but I'm not going to do what they did. I may have some of the same tenets. I may like the finer things in life. Of course, demand the finer things in life. But at the end of the day, I'm just speaking the truth. Remember that freaking promo where O'Hare said, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But I'm not going to say that because I'm not like him. I'm not a true villain. I'm not trying to corrupt. I'm just saying I'm not telling you anything that's not the absolute truth. But you don't like it. You fear it because it makes your body quiver because that little demon inside you doesn't want the truth. It's like, it starts shaking and convulsing. You see that? You see that? When they do those freaking things, those exorcisms, and they, God bless those people, get them free. When they start, going, because they're speaking the truth. They're speaking Yeshua, right? It's the end of the day. Am I truly a villain? No, I'm not. Not a villain at all. I just speak the absolute truth, and I'm not afraid to do so. And yeah, unfortunately, I wish we could do a lot more sizzle topics than fizzle topics. But at the end of the day, we're living in a world filled with fizzle right now. All right? We're not in the good old days. It ain't 1992. It isn't even 1996. It's not even 2002. Right now, we're living in 2026, where the world is a complete and utter mess, where people don't know if the sky is blue or if it's green. And we all know it's absolutely blue, all right? Where they're afraid to talk, where the youth are stuck on their phones all day long, where the video game has become the new parent, all right? And where garbage content is given a participation award. Like I said before, if this was the 90s and we had the executives in charge of these networks, WWE and AEW would have been canceled and pulled from the air a long time ago. But you see, the problem is nowadays these executives are the little sissies. The girly men and the weakling women, the ones that go, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You know, it's like those parents I see with their kids. When you see the kids being disobedient out in the public and they're throwing temper tantrums or they're cussing their parents out or they're running amok, and I see these parents who are not even equipped to be parents just say, oh, please stop, please stop. Like, please stop is going to do anything? Come on. Think, McFly. Think, sissies. Think. Of course, I'm not talking to any of you, my Masterians. Talking to some of the, I'm sure some of those trolls are going to find their way in here. I saw some real stupid comments from some little ignoramuses come into our comments recently, and it's pathetic, honestly. Like, I see these little things, and I'm like, I chuckle to myself. I laugh at some of the asinine crap I hear. Like I said, when I hear that WWE is a success, when I hear that, oh, this is the greatest one of all people. This is the greatest one, channel members and subscribers, when they say, oh, you're just jealous because you want to work there. I don't want to work in the WWE or AEW. I don't care. I was just having this conversation this morning with my wife. I wouldn't even give a crap if Tony Khan called me tomorrow, the tickler himself, and said, Amir, I want to offer you $20,000 a month to come and work for my company. I'd say, you know what, Tony, your company's shit. All right. You don't know how to run it. You would completely destroy my character because you don't know how to book it. And I would never, ever in a million years engage in any stupid thumbtack match or any of your stupid fire matches or where you fly off the top of a building. No, I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. All right. So, and again, I've had that comment so many times from some of these little friggin' castrated marks that have their balls cut off that come in and they tell me how much, Emir would love to be in the WWE. In 1990, sure. Yeah. Not now. That's not the company I dreamed about being in. That's not it. Sure, I would have loved to have been in WCW. That doesn't exist anymore. There's only two places that I would consider and that I would like to be in right now. And that's it. And WWE and AEW are not them. All right? Far from it. So for those little ignoramus, troll, ballless punks that have come in and said that in the past, no, far from it. Absolutely not. All right, let's go back up here. We got a bunch of comments come in. Tinkster says, yes, fantastic. Olga says, Miss Heels. Villain says, you have a right to be a snob when you're always right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Villain knows. Look at his name. He's called the Villain. He knows. You have a right to be the snob when you've educated yourself in one department where you have become, quote unquote, an expert. At that point, once you know it, once you know how the game is played, or rather, once you reboot the game, which is what I'm doing. Like I said, Uncle Paul can't reboot it. He was the game back in the day. I'm rebooting it myself. All right. Anyway, let's keep going down here. All right. Ray Dotson says WWE had some over satanic things like Aleister Black and The Fiend. Yeah, they did. I mean, overtly satanic. All right. And when you invite that darkness into your world, game over. Because guess what? There comes a time when it's going to collect. All right. You hear about all these horror stories in Hollywood, these actors that have all these success. It's funny. It's not funny. It's very sad how they all end in tragedy. Every single one of them, where they lose everything, something goes wrong, perhaps they lose their life. You ever notice that trend? It always happens. All right. Collect. You all saw that movie, Bedazzled, right? The man Brendan Fraser. What happens in the end? Comes to collect. Collect time. Devil's Advocate, Keanu Reeves, comes to collect. But then they twisted it and said it was all just a dream. He was imagining what could be. He had a premonition. Now he knows what not to do. All right, here we go. Dominic To Go, our other valuable channel member, the best of the best, cream of the crop, is in the house. He says Nick Aldis needs to get out of WWE because it's an embarrassing company. Same applies with AEW. He needs to go to JCW or back to the NWA, which he's over as a heel. 100%. Nick Aldis needs to get out now while he can, while he still has some gas in the tank, while he's still young enough to continue to further to build his brand. All right. I don't know what if it's a punishment ritual. They've put him as general manager for all this time, made him lose in his comeback match after I don't know how many years, 3 or 4 years. They're doing something to this guy, and it's not favorable, and he should leave immediately. All right. Same with LA Knight, but I think LA Knight's just too much of a wuss to leave. Be honest with you. I've heard stories about that guy. In fact, we'll cover that in a members only video. In fact, please remind me. I'll add that this week. I'm going to tell you all about the backstory of how this guy got into the business, some of the things he did in the past to get in the business, the type of personality he truly has behind the scenes, and then you may understand a little bit more why he's just so willing to go along with whatever's thrown at him and just put a big smile on his face and say, yeah, whatever. Think. Sunshine says, Emir, have you ever acted in a movie? Well, actually, no, I have not. I dibbled and dabbled around the Hollywood movie industry. I was called in for a role on a TV show that my wife does not like at all. But hey, it was good for me back in the day that we loved that show. I'm talking about Angel, the spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I had been called back for a prominent feature role, but at the time, I wasn't an American citizen, and I was back in the UK when the audition was taking place. And back then, we didn't have self-tape. There was no such bloody thing as internet and just record it and email it to somebody. That didn't exist. That type of technology wasn't here yet. And so, yes, what could have been, maybe I would have been on Angel, the TV show back in the day. But yeah, but I did work in the industry. I did acting classes. I did all that good stuff. I worked in a couple of TV shows, small background role and stuff like that in the UK. In fact, one time, actually, just to tell you guys a story here, just very quickly, if you'll indulge me here. Remember Sleepy Hollow when that came out with Johnny Depp and Christopher Walken? So a friend of mine, that's when we were getting into acting, and we were teenagers, friggin' idiots. But anyway, nonetheless, they were filming in Warner Brothers studio in England. And I said to my buddy, I said, man, we need to get on friggin' Sleepy Hollow. Anything. We need to be extras, whatever the heck we can be. So I said, all right, let's drive up to the studio. So we drove up to the studio, and we got to the front gate, and I said to the guard, this was back in the day. You could do this. You can't do this now. I'd say, oh, yeah. Our agent sent us here. Our manager sent us here. We've got an audition. He said, oh, okay. I said, do you know where the casting director's office is? And he goes, yeah, sure. It's like building 1B or whatever. This is where they filmed James Bond, GoldenEye. This is where they filmed Harry Potter. That's where they filmed Sleepy Hollow. So we drove back there, and we went in, and we met the casting director, and we gave her information. We got it. And they said, oh, we weren't expecting anyone. Oh, it must have been a miscommunication with our manager. That's the kind of stuff you could do back in the day. Like Spielberg. He friggin' jumped off of a damn Universal cart and weaseled his way into the offices. And next thing you know, he's the biggest director in Hollywood. Hey, that's another story for another day. The memories. Ray Dotson says, truth is despised in a world full of lies. It rhymes. And most people are headed towards destruction and don't even know it. The devil is out in the open, and most people still don't see him. It's amazing that they don't, Ray Dotson. He was right there at SummerSlam. He was right there at the Grammys. He's right there on TV. He's thinking all these movies are just evil for no reason all of a sudden. These celebrities, Bob Dylan, all these other guys that have just openly told you what they did to get to the top. Even the famous Beatles have Aleister Crowley, that known Satanist, involved in their songs and on their cover of their albums. Come on. It's right there. I've heard the band from England, Boyzone, one of the members talking about what it would take for them to get to the next level and the seances that were performed over their albums if they wanted to go platinum. It ain't a lie. It's there. Villain says, so if you know what you need to do, people, you need to get your Bible, Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Investigate it for yourself. All right. Find out where we came from, who we are, and where we're going to end up, because it's all there in the Bible. All right. Try and understand who Yeshua, Jesus Christ, was. All right. And, just pray on it. Pray for God to enter into your heart and open your eyes to the reality in which you live. All right. There's many things that are unseen in life that we don't even realize. And even right now, the world of sports entertainment is in a spiritual battle that even they aren't aware of. It's no coincidences that there are no heroes left like Hulk Hogan. Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. There's no Ultimate Warriors left. It's no coincidence. There's no Bret Harts left. Why is it we have little whining, soft dweeb men like Grayson Waller and the other ragtag group of friggin' sissy boys in NXT, a company where even he said this week, probably the only good thing he said was that the women are actually better in NXT than the men. How about that? At the end of the day, there's a spiritual war taking place, and it's raging right now. All right? And I encourage you all to take a moment to think about your soul. This body, these bodies, they're not going to be here forever. In fact, the time they're here is very limited. All right? But the soul is eternal. All right? I've seen enough evidence in my lifetime to know that. I've heard enough things from others to know that. All right? It's a fact. It's not imaginary. It's not a hypothesis. It's real. All right? All you need to do is look around and see the fact that, do you make the tree grow out of the ground? Do you make the sun rise and set? Do you blow the winds and make them come in? Do you make it rain from the sky? How are dreams formed? Those dreams that are beyond real. How do premonitions happen? You tell me. Unless you step into a machine and jump into the future, how does it just happen in your head? I'll tell you guys, one time I will share this. This is a wrestling story for any of those little people in there, those trolls. Oh my gosh, she's not talking about wrestling. Well, yeah, there is more to life. But anyway, at the end of the day, let me get back to wrestling then. When I was a teenager, actually a very young teen, or maybe I don't know how old I was, 12, whatever the heck it was. Remember Goldust? Of course, we all remember Goldust fondly, one of the greatest characters of the new generation. All right? Goldust. I remember I had a dream, and actually, my co-star on Masterclass, the gatekeeper, BMC, his brother was the guy who knew about this. His brother, I used to call him Rod the Bod, Dennis Rodman. I don't know why I ended up calling him Rodman. His name is Ross, but I would call him Rodman. And I called him. I said, I came to school, and I said I had a really, really, really freaking weird dream, like I was there. Goldust took his costume off, put it in a trash can, and set it on fire. Scott is my witness. I had that dream. I remember waking up the next day thinking, that's weird. Why in the hell did I dream that? Anyway, I told Ross because I felt that it was odd. I told him at school the next day. 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm watching Monday Night Raw on a Friday night at 10 p.m. because that's the time it would come on Sky Sports. Goldust walks out onto the stage with his costume, throws it in a trash can, and sets it on fire. My face went white. My heart started beating because I was legit freaked out. I said, this is exactly what I dreamed almost a month ago. My phone rang. It was Rodman. And he said, how in the hell did you know that, Emir? I said, I don't know. I told you the day after I had this dream. And there it goes. How can you explain that if there's no soul or no spirit? There's no explanation to that whatsoever. We were not living in an age of internet marks where all the crap was exposed. I wasn't reading any of that crap. Heck, I was a kid, all right? Heck, back then we barely read at the end of the day. Because let's face it, we were in that TV computer game generation, but not even that. Actually, I'll scratch that. I was not in the computer game generation, but I was too busy out there on my bike, out there in the wilderness, doing, having fun with my friends and all that stuff. But anyway, it happened. So I explained that. Anyway, Let's go down here. Villain says, just some Ray Dotson. Hold on, where is it? Just some. Skip. Sorry again, people. Let me go back up. Just some Ray Dotson. They have so many satanic things even today. Take a look at Liv, Rhea, Priest, the Beast, Dickhausen, the Demon. Hey, Villain just listed quite a few of them right there. Yeah. Sorry, I keep having to twist my neck. It's getting a little bit friggin' stiff here. But anyway, he just told you right there. The Villain just told you right there. Look at all those demonic characters right there. Awful. Hem Street Laptop says, Master Amir, I don't see any long-term creative booking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Since WWE doesn't have any big talent to feed him to move past upper mid-card to a main event run. Absolutely right. They have nobody to feed him. So again, Brock Lesnar saying this is the future means diddly squat, because at the end of the day, he's got nobody to feud with. So that makes him what? Just a giant among elves, basically. Might as well send him off to the Lord of the Rings and cast him in that spin-off TV series they got right there. Make him one of those friggin' monsters, what they call the Elks or whatever the crap they're called. Sunshine says, yesterday I actually watched a podcast with ex-WWE stars say that the best place to work right now is AEW. Sunshine. These people have probably been hitting the head way too many times. AEW, the best place to work. Gosh. Then these guys are more pathetic than we thought. They literally are more stupid than what we thought. Anybody. Well, let's look at this. Every former WWE star that have gone to AEW have ran back to the WWE with their tails between their legs because they realize it's a shit show. Nobody in their right mind would say AEW is better than WWE unless they're a complete lunatic or they are that damn stupid. Honestly, stupid. Ray Dotson says, sad but true. Shemp says, opinion on Haku returning to the WWE. Haku is back in the WWE? What? What? Did I miss something from my man Mikey T? Hold on, let me see what Mikey T, because he's getting the details from SummerSlam right now. He said, Dickhausen won against Dominic Mysterio. Not that we care. Gable, whoever the heck Gable is, made Penta submit to win the IC title. Again, I don't care. But thank you. Trend Leader, you need to become a channel member again. You have come off. You have slipped off. You are not green. Wish I could interact with you, but you know the rules, my man. Become a channel member. Hit the join button. Ray Dotson says, sadly, the people running things won't let them see or think for themselves. Exactly. That's all it is. They want to control everything, and sadly, they are controlling it to the ground and putting a nail in the coffin and put them 6 feet under. Villain says, offer them office or agent jobs. Seems mostly like the WWE takes the key wrestlers from other organizations and offer them jobs so they won't be any competition and under the thumb of WWE and drain all their creative ideas. Okay, so this happens a lot. This happened in Hollywood. I once knew a punk in Hollywood, let's just put it that way, because I helped him a lot. He ended up moving up the ranks real quick. I gave him a cool, catchy name, helped him with his headshots, got him on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, all this bullshit, right? Pulled my connections, and then goes around. He thinks he's a hot shot, all right? And he goes to me, I've been signed by this top talent agency. I said, really? For what? One of the scripts I wrote. I saw his script. I edited one. They were shit. Please. So I said, okay, little boy. Sure. Well, anyway, they signed him on to pocket him. They also ripped off his show. But at the end of the day, they signed him and they pocketed him and did nothing with him. All right? Nothing. All right? For years and years and years and years and years. So they pocket people. Sometimes these wrestlers are stupid. They're moronic. They think, I'm going to get signed. I'm going to get signed. Yeah, to stay on the sidelines because they have someone who's just like you that they want to push, but they don't want you as competition in an alternate organization. Think, McFly. Think. Do your study. Do your research first before signing an offer that could be too good to be true. All right, here we go. It's the Costanza says, what the heck? Where is Matt DeMille? When you need him, laugh out loud. I don't know. So I'll have to get in contact with him. Sunshine says, that's funny. I walked on the set of My Bloody Valentine. The shoot was on the street. I was walking down and wasn't paying attention, just strutting myself down. Sunshine just walked into a TV show or a movie set. How about that? Trend Leader. Become a channel member. I'm not going to ask you again. Villain says Sting, laugh out loud. Sting wouldn't be running back to the WWE. Well, Sting wouldn't be running back to the WWE. Of course not. They mistreated him here, but I think Sting should have ended his career in TNA. Should have been done. I think his last run in AEW was absolutely atrocious. Probably injured his body, probably aged him a number of years, and it destroyed the aura of the Sting that was WCW. Again, the tickler knows nothing about sports entertainment, nothing about booking whatsoever, as clearly evident for the last 8 years. All right, let's go down here. Ryan Potter says, Hollywood and WWE used to be a place for heroes. It is as if something is ruining it all to demoralize, demotivate, and subdue the American people. Well, they're not serving the Americana people anymore. That's the problem. They're not creating heroes anymore. That's the problem. They're creating, lack of a better term, pussies. That's what they're creating, and that's what they're proliferating. And they're trying to sell that agenda to keep the strong ones down. All right. At the end of the day, right? Testosterone's a bad thing. We hear it's a bad thing. Well, last time I checked, God created it. All right. Last time I checked, testosterone is what drives you through a war when you're defending your country, your family, your friends, when you have to fight off an attack or somebody's trying to hurt a loved one, right? Last time I heard, it's a bloody good thing. But oh no, it's a bad thing, right? There's no heroes left. Bullshit. We need them. All right. Little boys, little girls need role models to look up to. Look at the sham they did with Supergirl. Not that I watched it. I wouldn't pay a dime to watch that shit. But at the end of the day, I heard the reviews. They made her basically a loser who hates society, who's into partying and taking substances and getting herself out of her mind. And she just happens to become a hero. And it tanked miserably. It fell flat on its face because it was bullshit. People want a hero. They want inspiration so they can go on in life. Like what I do here on the podcast, what I do in the ring, create something to fuel somebody else. So they say, enough's enough. Enough of this bullshit. I'm going to become better than I was this morning. All right. I'm going to take this gift of life that is literally tick-tock, 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 ticking down. Because from the moment we're born, tick-tock, tick-tock towards the end of this existence, I'm going to take every tick and every tock that I can to do something good and great and better. Not just squander my time and kick back idly and just say, oh, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I'm going to do it now, right? If it means moving the needle in life. So again, yes, they have taken away the heroes, and subsequently we find ourselves in the cesspool that we're in now. So we need to keep boosting each other up through the ceiling. Speaking of boosted, I want to give a moment here for a couple of channel members who've become sponsors. And I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart here for helping us continue in this endeavor. Joshua Babcock, Music World Treasures. Make sure you all subscribe to his channel in your spare time. Make sure you go over Music World. The link is in the description of the video. Like his videos. Listen to his music. It's absolutely fantastic. He is an all-round musician, singer, composer, everything. He made my theme music, and he can make some music for you too if you need help with that. Just get in contact with him. You can do that by going on his main page and getting his contact details. Archie Lee. I want to thank Archie Lee for becoming not just a channel member, but a sponsor of the channel as well. Thank you so much, Archie, for helping fuel us here on the Masters of Wrestling when we need it. Of course, the other sponsor, Life Peptides Club. If you guys are interested in peptides and you need to order using my master coupon code, the link is in the description of this video. I take peptides, all right? And so far, so friggin' fantastic. My joints feel better than ever. My skin has improved, my recuperation, my sleep, all right? My ability at the gym has improved. Everything has improved. Again, you can order them directly to your home in the United States and Canada. Life Peptides Club shipped to both, all right? Okay, and all the information you need is right there. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm simply sharing information. And also, Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market in Southern California. If you live out here, you need to start shopping there and stop spending your whole paycheck at other health food grocery stores. All right. They've got everything. They've got the food, they've got the produce, they've got the supplements. And if you want to order, you can do so online, www.clarksnutrition.com. All right. I want to say that. Let's go back to the questions here. Can you feel the heat? I certainly can. And it's not just because it feels like a friggin' million degrees of furnace out here where I'm at. It's the heat of the intensity of this conversation, of the electricity, the magnetic electric energy that's coming out from my channel members and my subscribers right here. All right. Ryan Potter says, okay, it's the Costanza says, look on the bright side. Rick Martel has appeared at SummerSlam. Yes, he was. And he was at SummerSlam 1992 against Mr. Hickenbottom, Shawn Michaels. All right, let's go down here. I'm going to go down slowly so it doesn't skip. I hope it does not skip. All right. Okay, thank God. Oh, now it's frozen. Oh, so now it's frozen. So my mistake. It's frozen. All right, so we've got, let's see here. Apparently Haku returned on SmackDown on Friday. So I didn't know this. Haku, I met Haku. He's a tremendous individual. I got to have a great conversation with him a couple of times last year, and he's a true gentleman, all right, a true man's man, a tough guy, and he was a tremendous, tremendous performer. Again, I mean, he was at WrestleMania 6, some of the greatest, King Haku. I mean, come on, the Islanders. I mean, fantastic. So apparently he's back in the WWE. This must be an angle, I presume, for the bloodline or something, which I can't believe is still actually going on here. Oh yeah, I see it right now. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Oh, he's a manager. Okay, so he's managing his sons right there. The great Haku, King Haku, is back in the WWE as a manager. Good for him. I hope they're paying him well. He's a true legend and he deserves it. It's the Costanza says, no, Rick Martel was in the crowd at SummerSlam right now. What? Rick Martel? Well, that's just a publicity move there. But the thing is, it's the Costanza. How many of these friggin' new internet mark fans in the WWE are going to even know who Rick Martel was? It's kind of like with the Rougeau brothers at AEW. Most of those friggin' dweebs in that crowd never even knew who the Rougeau brothers were. They just read a soundbite on the internet about something that with Kevin Owens, and because they're all little marks, they went along with Kevin Owens and they started booing him. Stupidity. Again, a lot of these new fans don't even know who these guys are. All right. If you challenge them, I bet actually, if you went up to a lot of the new wrestlers in awful excrement wrestling or amateur excrement wrestling, AEW, for the way it's really called, if you went up to most of these guys, most of them probably wouldn't even know who Haku, who Rick Martel was. I would guess maybe 60% of them don't even know some of these people. And that's how pathetic they have become. All right. Talk about no education in the field you're going into. A lot of these guys are uneducated. They're literally basically just gymnasts. They look at wrestling as a fun little hobby pastime of theirs. They got friends in AEW. They got a contract. They're milking the biggest money mark in wrestling history, the tickler for everything he's got. And they're just, holding their breath because they know every day could be their last in AEW when the tickler finally shuts it all down when they lose their TV deal at the end of 2027, which is coming rapidly right around the corner. So I don't know what the heck's going on at SummerSlam right now. I can't even remember what the main event is. Oh, of course I remember what the main event is. A match 14 years in the making. Well, not in the making because it's already happened a gazillion times. Seth Rollins against the man who could never truly get over with the fans, the man who literally took 10 years to even get a round of applause. Talking about Mr. Roman Reigns, Mr. Mechanic. I mean, that's the gimmick I would have given him because, look, he just looks like a mechanic. He just wears these pants, these boots. He's all greasy all the time, and I don't really see the appeal. I don't, period. I don't see the appeal at all, other than the fact that he's related to Twinkle Toes, the Tooth Fairy himself, the man who played a Tooth Fairy on TV in the movies. I'm talking about Dwayne Johnson. Talking about the man who just mysteriously disappeared at WrestleMania last year, the man who says he loves pro wrestling, but yet only spent about 5 or 6 years actually in it. The rest has been spent hobnobbing and bending over backwards or forwards, rather, for those in Hollywood. Nonetheless, let's go down here. Ryan Potter says Seth Rollins is wearing his Met gala outfits. Yeah, because I guess Seth Rollins must shop at the same women's clothing store that Mickey Rourke and Debbie Batista shop at. Yeah. I heard a recent comment by Debbie Batista saying he would never come back to the world of wrestling. You couldn't pay him to get back. He'd have to be dirt broke to come back to wrestling. Like he has such an aversion for it. I mean, like what did it do him wrong? What did wrestling do him wrong? He said he was broke for 3 years after he left the WWE. For 3 years. He would be in the WWE. He'd been the world champion. He'd been all around the world. So he must have a severe, issue with cash management. But at the end of the day, coming back to Seth Rollins, yeah, we know who wears the pants in that family. Of course, it's Mr. Becky Lynch. She's confused about herself too. Doesn't she call herself the man? She needs to check between her legs because I'm pretty sure she does not have a penis. Although we don't know. Maybe she does. I don't know. But at the end of the day, she calls herself the man. All right. Okay. Now, I'm sure she does that when she walks around the house. She probably says, "Oh, I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man." And little Seth Rollins is there in the corner shrieking over there saying, "Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are." And then she says, "I think you should wear this." And she gives him a women's clothing and he just puts it on gladly. He's an idiot. All right. I don't know what he's doing. He has no character. Ray Dotson says The Rock really is the Croc. Exactly. He is. Yeah, he's absolutely the Croc. Absolutely the complete Croc. Roy Dotson says, I liked Batista until he became a Hollywood regular. Same with Dwayne the Croc Johnson. Yep. Well, like I said, Batista is really, he's just gone down a path of just complete destruction from everything he worked himself up to be or pumped himself full of to become. He's certainly not pumping that juice anymore. If anything, he stopped pumping the juice, and another hormone is obviously taken over. Hence the pearl necklaces and the blouses and the little friggin' bracelets. And I'm sure he wears those high ankled friggin' dress pants with little loafer shoes. In fact, I'm surprised he doesn't wear a little earring. I think he does actually. He wears 2 earrings, doesn't he? 2 little diamonds. Yeah. Little rhinestone sunglasses. Does he carry a little dog like Mickey Rourke and a purse? Sure he does. Anyway, let's keep going here. All right. Traffic Jam says CM Punk should go on corporate man Punk to change his gimmick. The best of the world is old news. He needs to wear suits every time. I got a faction called the Boardroom. What do you think, Emir? Traffic Jam, I want you as part of my creative team for the Masters of Wrestling. Exactly. That's why I call him the corporate Mark Phil, because I always thought, okay, he's so corporate now. Yeah, just put him in a suit all the time. I'd have him even cut promos on himself saying he regrets all the tattoos because that's not the embodiment of a corporate man. I'd have him, the Boardroom. That's it. Him, my Uncle Paul. Who else is an ass kisser in WWE? Cody Rhodes. I'd have him join forces. Who else is another ass kisser in WWE? Gosh, the list goes on and on, right? Michael Cole. Might as well shove him in there. Who else seems to be? Oh, LA Knight. In fact, you should just call him Sean. In fact, he shouldn't even have a last name. He should just be called Sean. And he should be the gopher, the ones that runs and grabs him coffee. The little gopher boy. The intern. Call him Sean, the intern. Yeah, exactly. Sami Zayn, yeah, he's another one. Stick him in there. Of course, you got to cut his hair. You can make him an intern too. Actually, screw it. Make him an intern. He can look as scruffy as he wants. Use a suit that doesn't fit. Rough, scruffy hair. Beard all over the place with crumbs in it from his lunch. Disgusting, man. But anyway, yeah, exactly. I think it's fantastic, Traffic Jam. It's the Costanza says, if TKO makes Haku mad, watch out. That will be the end of TKO. Laugh out loud. Haku does not F around. No, he does not. He truly is a tough guy. Don't piss him off. And I'm sure he's probably having to hold back. There's a lot of friggin' little twits backstage that are probably already pissing him off right now. All right. Heck, I'd have to contain myself like I said, I would never want to go back there. In fact, I'm going to do an episode this week because I saw something come out. I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but a couple of my friends were at the WWE tryout, and I actually spoke to them a couple of weeks ago. I said, I wouldn't do that shit if I were you. I said, they're just going to freaking screw you guys up. They're not going to take you because your gimmick is too good for them. And anyway, so we talked, and I ended up seeing him on a quick snippet because that stupid little idiot that can't even cut a promo, Grayson Waller, who was trying to boost himself up. It was the most it was pathetic. I'm going to grab a clip when I record the video this week so you guys can see what I'm talking about, where he basically tries to reiterate how good he is to you guys because he's so pathetic. He needs to keep saying it. And he comments on my friends, this tag team. But a comment is met with a sarcastic comment. He talks about them somewhat favorably, but then he throws in another word. He throws in the word silly. And I said to myself, silly? Wrestling is silly. When you really think about it, it's entertainment. All entertainment is supposed to be silly. It's all dramatic. It's all costumes, makeup, and characters. That's what people out there in the mainstream would call silly. But you see, he said that because he's jealous. Because he's jealous because he's just been relegated to NXT, a bunch of nobodies. X marks the spot of nobodies. Nobody's X talentless. We'll come up with one for NXT. But he made a comment about them and used the term silly. And I thought, aren't you the prick that pretended to cut a shoot promo, but you were pacing back and forth in the ring like a nervous wreck because you were so nervous because you didn't know how to do it? Nothing you said in that shoot promo was convincing at all. Nothing. And how is it a shoot? They let you have the mic for 10 minutes, you whiner. 10 minutes when you had to remember what you said. You made little actions like this as if you were on a dance floor, as if you were doing dance moves. You look like you just walked out of a frigging club in Florida. You don't look like a superstar. You don't even sound like one. To me, it sounded like his balls haven't even dropped. How is anybody supposed to find him intimidating? And he had the audacity to say one of the greatest coaches in WWE, like the people that were trying out for WWE, had the pleasure of being in his presence. Isn't he the guy who just got relegated off TV for a long time and sent back to NXT because he's useless? You can't even cut it on the main roster. We'll get into it this week, all right? Because I'm pissed off at what he said about my friends. All right, let's go down here. Villain says Cena and Debbie Batista, I'm adding Debbie in there, both love James Gunn. Or is it the other way around? I wonder why. This is the villain. That's why he's called the villain right there. He doesn't give a crap. He's going to say it the way it is. All right. Ray Dotson says the Illuminati tattoo on Debbie Batista's chest is a telltale sign. The animal sold out. He was the beast animal. He became the parakeet. He became Debbie Batista. Sami Zayn. Ray Dotson says, it's crazy how Billy Gunn hasn't changed. He looks the same and is in great shape. It's a shame he isn't in a better promotion than It's because he's taking peptides, my man. All right. He's known to be talking about it. He takes peptides and he works his ass off at the gym and he eats healthily. All right. And no reason why anybody can't be like that. Okay. We all can. Got to work hard. You got to eat right. And again, if there's supplements out there that you can take that improve your body as we age, hey, there you go. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice, but you can order peptides if you want using my link in the description of this video. Sunshine says, I honestly don't know what your uncle is still doing there. It's not like he needs the money. It's all drama on it. I wouldn't. Honestly, at this point, with all the shit that my uncle gets, him and Aunt Steph, I'd leave. It's like, my day is done. Its sun is set. It's over. It's finished. I would understand if he still has some great talent in there, but it looks like we got a new channel member, Time Flies 60. Hey everyone, Time Flies 60. Are you a brand new channel member? I've never seen you pop up before. If you are, thank you. You know, trend leader, I've often told him, This guy, everybody, trend leader told me last week, a couple of weeks ago, he was a channel member, right? Then he wasn't a channel member. He told me he gave his money to Jeff Jarrett. Can you believe that, people? Can you believe the audacity of the trend leader to tell me that he gave his money to a man who really doesn't need it? Talking about double J, JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. And another man who doesn't need it is his co-host. Trend leader, you need to hit that join button right now. Like I said, next week, these live streams are not going to be in the free version anymore. 2 member videos next week. Every live stream next week going forward in the members only section. Ray Dotson says to me, what did you think of WCW ECW invasion angle in 2001 in the then WWF, now WWE? Tell you what I thought of it. I thought at the time it was a good way to keep WCW alive. I didn't care for ECW, extremely crappy wrestling. I couldn't give a shit about them. But I cared about WCW. And I think it was a good way to keep WCW's name alive. They should have pursued it longer. I always think that Vince should have given Shane a division and called it WCW. They should have kept WCW alive. It had such a great history, such a great library, such great talent. It was a shame. But I enjoyed it. I thought it gave some pizzazz to the brand after WCW was eaten up by the WWE. Pardon me. So I think it was good. I enjoyed it greatly. Ryan Potter says, Michael Cole makes anything investing in WWE sound like crap. Michael Cole is an awful announcer. I remember when he first joined in 97, and I thought, who is this friggin' dweeb? Who is this idiot? Because he was a replacement to Todd Pettengill. And Todd, if you ever see, I want you on the show, my man. Todd was one of the last great voices of the WWF. I would have said Jim Ross, but recently Jim's kind of pissing me off with some of the crap he's saying. God bless him in his health and everything else. But some of the statements he's made recently, I don't know. Plus, I liked Jim in 93 and 94. When he got over the top in the 2000s with Jerry Lawler, it was different. The last great voice, I mean, he really had a radio voice. Todd Pettengill has a crisp, clean, very great communication. I see some of those sometimes when I want to feel nostalgic, when I got like 5 minutes to spare, I'll stick on an old WWF report for WrestleMania 11 or something. And it was Todd Pettengill who did those. And Todd, he'd say, call your local cable company right now and blah, blah, blah. Make the call, 1-800, blah, 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 WWF, and enjoy WrestleMania 11. He was fantastic. He was fantastic backstage. He was an instigator. He was great on WWF Mania. We need to think about Todd Pettengill. We need to remember him, one of the greats. Michael Cole doesn't even come close. Michael Cole, his best, most memorable thing was when DX gave him the wedgie. And that's what he deserves. He needs to be wedged out of there. Another one who's an ass clown, who's got a horrible voice for the microphone, horrible voice on commentary, is Corey Graves. In fact, his voice needs to be just, well, I'm not going to say that because I don't wish him any ill, but he needs to get out of there. He's got an awful, awful voice for commentating. Some commentators are just fantastic, like Jesse Ventura, Bobby Heenan, Roddy Piper, Vince McMahon, Jerry Lawler. Like I said, Todd Pettengill would have been great out there if he went out there. Even Tony Schiavone earlier on. Of course, Tony now is just annoying because he's too much of a yes man for the tickler. I know the tickler's tickling his own balls when he thinks about the little legends that he has in his company. But anyway, nonetheless, where was I going with this? Michael Cole, awful, absolutely awful. Where are we going here? Hi, everyone. Okay, villain. Him and Aunt Steph laugh out loud. Ray Dotson says, welcome, time flies 60. Sunshine says, welcome, time flies. Villain says, I think we have all given a little money to Jeff. Yeah, I gave a little bit of money to Jeff Jarrett back in the day when I was buying WWF magazines. But that's about it. That's where I'm going to cut it off right there. All right, at the end of the day, I think he said disparaging things about the Carter family that I think were untrue. God bless him in his life and everything else. But he said some things recently about wrestlers like Dick Housen's the next biggest star, all this crap. Something's wrong. And he works with the tickler, of course. We've got to remember that. Sadly, I heard Jim Ross was a racist, says Ray Dotson. We've heard this. So again, it kind of diminishes By the way, we got a hot topic video coming out tomorrow. I've got my man, the baddest man alive, Jefferson Flair, and he's not happy with the WWE hiring a known racist. That's right, Ryan Garcia. We did a video with my man, Rico Constantino, WWE legend. I'm not even going to mention AEW anymore when I mention Rico, because even though he was there, hey, WWE, he was a WWE Tag Team Champion. He was an American Gladiator Champion. Those accolades outweigh the AEW mistreatment, as far as I'm concerned, that he got. I mean, this is how unprofessional AEW was. When they wanted Rico, you know who contacted? You know how they got in contact with Rico? Yes. Yours truly. Mansoor from the Man-Child, one half of the MXM collection, who's still dodging me to this day because they're afraid to step in the ring with me. Mansoor reached out to me and asked, oh, can you ask Rico to call me, please? That's how it started, all right? Not the AEW office, not the tickler, no, of course not. Unprofessional to the max, all right? That's the type of company they are. Tinkster says, thanks for joining. Time flies 60. Welcome to the greatest wrestling channel in history right here on the Masters of Wrestling. You now, sir, are a master or a woman, whatever you are. Unlike the trend leader, of course, trend leader, he's afraid to become a channel member, all right? He'd rather go and strum guitars with Jeff Jarrett. Anyway, all right, here we go. Sunshine says, I hear that too about Jim Ross. Ray Dotson says, JR was still one of the greatest announcers. Technically, yeah. It's the Costanza says, doesn't Jack Tunney have a YouTube channel, or is it a different guy? I'd have him on the podcast, the former general. No, Jack Tunney passed away, sadly. He was a good character, but he passed away. Ray Dotson says, WCW TNA, WCW, oh, please, forgive me. WCW NWA, Tony Schiavone was, yes, he was decent when he was there. All right. Hem Street Laptop says, Sean Mooney was another WWF. I've talked to Sean. I got to reach out back to him. He was going to come on the podcast, so let me try and get Sean on. Sean, reason I said Todd Pettengill was one of the last great ones is because Todd came after Sean Mooney. In fact, he took over the event center and stuff like that, I believe. But yeah, Sean Mooney, if you're watching this, Sean, you are a legend, sir. I respect the heck out of you. One of the best talkers that ever came down the pike of the WWE right there. When backstage correspondents and wrestling journalists actually talked and acted and looked like them. Like Mean Gene, another fantastic one right there. Best of the best. There's got to be a disconnect with these people now. The fact that sometimes they have these women backstage that try and interview the wrestlers that literally look like a deer caught in headlights. They have no clue how to even start the conversation. They just stand there in their nightgowns or whatever the crap they're wearing and say, so, Drew, tell me, you're about to have a match against Cody Rhodes. How are you going to handle this? What the hell does that even mean? How are you going to handle this? I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight to win. Next question. Toots, whatever. Because I heard the only reason I say toots is because wrestlers have said that before when they got pissed off. You got to do better. You got to do better. Who is it? Stephanie Wyand. She came into the WWF in the mid-90s. Stephanie Wyand. And she was a backstage correspondent. She was excellent. Absolutely excellent. She got involved in the story. She provoked them. She was good on the mic. She worked well with Todd Pettengill at the first In Your House. I forgot about her. Stephanie Wyand. That was it. Sonny. She knew how to talk on the mic. So it can be done, but apparently the WWE and AEW just hire women that haven't got a clue how to be a backstage correspondent. They don't even know how to talk. They just stand there and say, And why is it nobody wears a suit? Why is it that Tony Schiavone, when he's in the ring, is wearing a suit, but he's wearing sneakers? Does he want to look like an idiot? Or is somebody telling him to dress like that? Freaking ridiculous, man. Wear a pair of dress shoes, especially at a pay-per-view. Come on, have some class, have some dignity. All right. Ray Dotson says Joey Styles was good too. Yeah, but he was in ACW, so I don't really know about him. Sean Mooney is the guy I was talking about. Yep, Ray Dotson says, did anybody remember Rob Bartlett from the first episode? Yes, I do. Or Rob Bartlett. Who else was there? He was the guy with the black hair. There was another guy, not Josh Matthews. There was another guy who came in 1993 with short blonde hair. Very short period of time. He was in the event center. He took over from Mean Gene. He was doing backstage interview at SummerSlam 93. Who in the hell was that guy's name? Josh. Someone help me out. There was another backstage correspondent that came in 1993. He didn't last very long, but he was good at what he did. He was very professional. Who was it? I can't even remember. Let me go to the questions here, see if I remember. Mac Davis. Yes, I've talked to Mac. Mac is very, very good. Current backstage announcer right now. He is very, very good. And I had a conversation with him, and we talked about, I said, for years, I have thought we need a new Mean Gene. And he says, it's funny you should mention that. Great minds think alike, because Vince Russo, Vinny Roo, told him the same thing. Go and study Mean Gene Okerlund. That's what I want. The recipe for success has already been written. All you got to do is follow the instructions. But a lot of these asinine idiots don't know how to follow instructions. They don't even read them. AEW, WWE, TNA. Idiocy. Morons. All right. Okay. And there's some good correspondents in NWA right now as well. They're very good. Professional, wear suits and everything. All right. And Mac was a wrestler. Yeah. He can talk and walk the walk. Villain says Mac Davis is good. Yeah. Ray Dotson says, I miss the Scottish warrior Drew Galloway. Yes. Drew's gone. He's gone head for higher ground, literally the Highlands in Scotland, where he's filming the new Highlander movie. Great movie. Ray Dotson says Renee Young, Paquette is the only good. Yeah, and she's good. Like I said, I'll give her that. Her husband is a complete moron, but at the end of the day, she's good. I guess she holds the family together with the common sense and the brains while he goes and beats his in every chance he gets because he's a sadomasochist. Sunshine says, yeah, then she married an idiot. Exactly, Sunshine. She married an idiot. All right. She probably got a huge life insurance policy taken out on him. All right. Ray Dotson says, I agree, Sunshine. I actually think John Moxley was better when he was Dean Ambrose. John has lost his mind. He has completely lost his mind. His ever-living mind. He has gone off the deep end, and he is just sinking at the bottom of an ocean right now. It's just a matter of time. No, Mikey T just texted me. I'm not thinking of Stan Lane, although Stan Lane made an effortless transition to be, of course, Gorilla Monsoon. How could I forget Gorilla Monsoon? Dear Gorilla. No, I'm not talking about Mikey T. I'm not talking about Stan Lane. There was someone else. Josh Fellows. Joe, who was it? Who was the guy? Joe Fowler. That's it. Boom. Shemp 82. It was Joe Fowler. That's what I'm thinking about. He was at SummerSlam 93, had a small stint in the WWF. He was good. He impressed me. Like I said, it took me a while to remember because it's been almost over 30 years. At the end of the day, I remember Joe Fowler for his professionalism. He was fantastic. Howard Finkel, great. What is it with these ring announcers today? Who are these ring announcers? Like literally, who are they? They seem to change all the time. Lillian Garcia, in terms of the females, did a fantastic job. She was great. She was a good singer. She did a good job. Then you got Howard Finkel. There was another guy who did it after Howard in the mid-90s. I forget who his name was. He was good. WCW, what was that guy's name? Gary Michael Capetta. And then there was the other one that came in after. I forget his name. But there were some real good ones. But now the ring announcers, other than that one guy, I met him recently, the guy who does AEW, the guy who was in WWE. I forget his name, younger guy. He's good. But they're not professional. Hold on, Mikey T's texting me right now. Tony Schimmel. That's it. Tony Schimmel, Mikey T. Tony Schimmel in the mid-90s or early 2000s. He was good. They had definitive voices. You knew what you expect when you were watching the show. Nowadays, you get, and my wife has a pet peeve about this, these women that scream like men. They try and make their voices like men, and it's just ridiculous. Lillian Garcia didn't do that crap. She just spoke in a nice way, in a communicative way. She had a good booming voice, and that was it. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Do it right now. It's free to do so. We got plenty of people watching this live stream. You need to hit the thumbs up. Help us out. That helps us out greatly. It's the least you could do. All you got to do is hit the thumbs up icon. It's free to do that. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And if you haven't already, become a channel member. Don't be like Trend Leader. This man became a channel member. Then he wanted to give all his money to Jeff Jarrett. So at the end of the day, we don't want you to be like that. We want you to be a leader in sports entertainment, to hitch yourselves to the masters of wrestling by becoming a channel member. All right? Okay? Don't get left behind. All right, here we go here. We're going down. We got a bunch of questions coming in now. Shemp says, Joe Fowler. Olga says, love when Mean Gene hung out with the Bushwhackers and became an honorary Bushwhacker. Fantastic. Villain says, Gorilla and Jesse Ventura. Fantastic commentating team. Ray Dotson says Ross and Heyman. Heyman was better as a commentator than he is the last few years. I don't know what the hell he's still doing there. He has zero charisma as a manager right now. Zero. Good times, Olga. Ray Dotson says Tony Schimmel. Ray Dotson says Justin Roberts. That's who I was thinking of right there. Ray Dotson says Lillian Garcia was great too. Ray Dotson says The Fink, of course. Sunshine says, I feel that about UFC once Bruce Buffer is gone, boring. Oh, Michael Buffer. Who's Bruce Buffer? Is that his son? Olga says, heart me some Monsoon and Heenan. The Jimmy Carson and Ed McMahon of the WWF back in the 80s. See, this is the thing. When we build the Masters of Wrestling, I'm going to go for a little bit longer because my throat is getting sore now. When we build the Masters of Wrestling, when we open our own sports entertainment company, because we are, I'm on a mission to do it now. I literally realized that, hey, you know what? If no one else can figure it out, if no one's doing what you want to do, you got to build it yourself. All right. At the end of the day, you got to build it yourself, because you can scream till you're blue in the face. No one's ever going to change. They're going to be stuck in their ways because they think they're right. They're jaded. They're blinded by the truth. They can't see through the forest, through the trees. So at the end of the day, we're going to take the bull by the horns, and we're going to collectively put on our own sports entertainment company. Yes, it's going to take some time, but I'm praying for our Lord and Savior Yeshua to give us all the financial means that we need in order to make it happen, because it needs to happen. Otherwise, I'm telling you now, the way wrestling looks right now, I'm not psychic, but common sense indicates to me it will be over in 3 years, maximum. The mainstream companies will be dead in 3 years. I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm saying it to be logical thinker, common sense thinking. It tells me it's over. So we have to create our own company. And I want to bring back true good commentators like that. A heel and a face. All right. Clear divide. Great talkers, radio voice. And I don't want freaking 20-year-old commentators that know nothing about life. I don't even want 30-year-olds. I don't even want 40-year-olds. I want people that are in their 50s that have lived life, that have a great vocabulary, who can ad lib off the cuff, right? Come out with one-liners and all that, all right? And that don't friggin' have zero life. I don't want them. So that's going to be a prerequisite. They're going to be in their 50s. And they're going to know how to talk, and they want to have a radio voice. I want backstage commentators, journalists like that. I want a ring announcer that can become an action figure. I want a ring announcer who, well, of course, none can be better than my ambassador, Suspect, of course. He's the greatest ring announcer right now, but of course he works for me now. He works as part of the master class, so he's not going to be he's not going to be announcing anybody but yours truly. But at the end of the day, we're going to have the best of the best, the top of the top, the cream. Oh, apparently Roman Reigns retained his title for the umpteenth time. Mikey T, my man. Mikey T's getting paid to watch this right now. All right. Otherwise, he wouldn't be watching it. He's getting paid to watch SummerSlam right now. Lucrative sponsor is sponsoring him to watch this stuff. I mean, God bless you, Mikey T. I couldn't do it myself. Let's go through these questions. Olga says, I liked Vince on commentary. Vince was very good on commentary. Traffic Jam says, Taz and Michael Cole. Taz was good back in the day. Underrated on SmackDown. Yep. Ray Dotson says, was James' last name who is Rene Dupree's first moderator? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Ray Dotson. Sunshine says, Bruce is the main announcer, I think, from the 3 shows. Ray Dotson says, what is his last name? I meant, is he doing any YouTube still? Oh, no, he's not. None of that team are Ray Dotson. Steve Vendetta, become a channel member, my man. I see you. I keep seeing your comments. All you got to do is hit join, man. $4.99 a month. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. Step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Don't be like trend leader. Come on, Steve Vendetta. You got a cool name. You want to be part of this team. You want to be part of it. You want to contribute. You want to help us get that company. Hit that join button. Do it right now. Come on, my man, Steve Vendetta. Come on. Olga says, I've seen Dupree's moderator on other podcasts. I forget which one it is, though. Sunshine says, maybe you should call Vince. Trust me, I've thought about it. All right? Trust me, I've thought about it. But I just think, what could I say? Vince, I need $100,000 to shoot a pilot of a wrestling show. So drop in your bucket, my man. Drop in an ocean of your money, of your cash flow. I don't know. Maybe we'll get in contact with Vince. I'll say, hey, I know my uncle let you down, all right, miserably. But at the end of the day, you're looking at the nephew, all right? I'm the one with the creative genes, not Uncle Paul. I'm the one with the team and the passion. I'm the one with the morals and the values. So let me head up a new company. I'll make it a success. We'll go to war once again with all of them, every single one of them. And we'll win. All right. Where are we going here, right? You should call Vince. Ray Dotson says, WWE has been terrible for some time. That's been terrible for over a decade, my man. 15 years probably, if not longer. Tankster says, right on, Master Amir. We support and believe in you. Bring back All-American Wrestling. That's exactly what we intend to do right there. Olga says, I sometimes watch Raw to zone out, and so I can complain about it. It's a cathartic experience. Tankster says, bless you, Mikey. I'm not sure. Oh, Mikey T. She's talking about Mikey T, my man Mikey T here, because he needs to be blessed because he's forced to watch SummerSlam right now. He just sent me another text message here. He's actually crying right now. He says, yeah, he's crying, and he shows me, oh, look at this. Another sappy, sissy, pansy-ass wuss display at SummerSlam. It is Mrs. Becky Lynch and the mechanic, Roman Reigns, holding hands, it looks like, becoming friends after their little battle. Just like Cody Rhodes and Corporate Mark Phil are besties. Feels good, doesn't it? Besties. Brock Lesnar, Obi-Wan Kenobi hugging each other. Yes, it's all fun and games. I'll hug you at the end of the match. I'll just hug you. Just hug you like a wife hugs a husband, like a mom hugs a child. I'll just hug you. It's all over now. It's all fun. This is the sissified crap that makes WWE and all of those organizations shite. Okay? Two characters that are supposed to despise each other, and yet they hug at the end of the match. How many times has this happened at SummerSlam already? How many times? Pathetic. Weaklings. Sissy boys. Girly boys. Reach down in between your legs. Find out if you still got some balls. All right? Is your testosterone still working after all these years and after all those supplements? Find out. Because apparently it's not. Because you keep hugging each other. Next thing I'm going to see them crying in the ring. Crying tears like it's a Hallmark movie or something. It's supposed to be World Wrestling Entertainment. It's the World Whining Entertainment Group. World Women's Entertainment is what it has become. It is pathetic. Let's go down here, and then that is it. I got to eat my dinner. All right? Okay, so we're going down here. Ray Dotson says, Sunshine says, let's go, Steve. Join us. She's talking about Steve Vendetta, about him crossing that finish line. I don't know. He may be a little bit timid, but we'll see. Ray Dotson says, Master Amir, undisputed TNA and MLW World Heavyweight Champion. What are you talking about, Ray Dotson? I don't understand that. It's the Costanza says, if you put a photo up of Jesus Christ on the screen during a Dickhausen segment, he might melt in the middle of the ring. I hope he does. All right? I hope he does, because that guy he's got a demonic tattoo right on his chest. Says everything he does about that little friggin' bastard who kisses other men. What a weakling. Sunshine says, I bet you Vince would go for it to save his name after all the slamming he's been through. Well, yeah, Vince, if you ever see this, I'm not kidding you. If you ever see this, Vince McMahon, please get in contact with us here at the Masters of Wrestling. I want to start a new branded company. I want to do it the right way. I want to do it the old-fashioned way. The wheel was not broken. It didn't need fixing, and you're not dealing with wussies and sissy boys and girly boys here. You're going to be developing a brand that America is going to love, and the rest of the world for that matter too, and I've got the best team to back me up. I have over 100 years of wrestling talent to back me up, from Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, Rico Constantino, Pat Tanaka, and more. All right? I've got the greatest channel members here in the history. We have been fueling ideas. We've got ideas galore. I worked in Hollywood. I've written books. I've written screenplays. I've produced. We know how to do it right. So, Vince, if you're watching this, get in contact, my man. Get in contact. Ray Dotson says, oh, agreed. But it was getting bad under Vince before that. Yeah, because it was a public traded company. Vince had to suit investors and sponsors. When he was private, he had carte blanche to do what he wanted. Then he couldn't do it anymore. That's what the problem was, Ray. Olga says, gold one, good one, Costanza. Sunshine says, oh my MG, that picture made me gag. Which picture are you talking about, Sunshine? Let me go down here. Steve Vendetta, become a channel member. Dirty Mike T, become a channel member, my man. Ray Dotson says, Vince also wanted to break into bodybuilding with the WWF and Yeah, I watched the WWF. It was pretty cool back in the day. Gary Stridham and them. Olga says, Emir, you need a soundbite of Sound Off Like You Got a Pair from Full Metal Jacket. I should. We should have a segment called not mic drop, ball drop, where we talk about the latest pansy asses in wrestling and how pathetic they are. That's what we should do. Ball drop. And I'll have the sound of two, when you play pool on a pool table, if you drop those balls on the floor, on a tile floor or like a hard floor, how they would sound, I'll drop two of them on the floor. And then we're talking about the ball drop section here. The guys who've been castrated, we're going to talk about, or some Mark out there, like probably Mark Meltzer, or some pansy ass like that, or Alvarez, or Sean Sapp of a man from Fightful of Crap, or those other people, or what the hell do they talk about? They talk about culture of wrestling, some crap, full of crap too. So many full of crap out there. There's some other one about some lame crap, lamia, bullshit, old crap, stupid reporting, absolutely asinine. All right, okay. Emir, you could dominate those two promotions and the NWA also. Well, just watch the space, my man. Watch the space, Ray Dotson. Mike Blakesley's in the house. That would be Classic Master. And Vince, I'm down. Ray Dotson, let me know, Emir, if you could discuss podcast talking points soon. Ray, I emailed you today. We'll chat later this week. Sunshine says the two. Christian Darkwood's in the house. He's a channel member. I don't know if he's new or not, but thank you for becoming a channel member, Christian Darkwood. He said, Vince, give the master a call. Worth the gamble. Time to start up another Monday Night War. And trust me, I'm right there front and center. I got my cannons right there aimed at Uncle Paul. All right. And at the tickler. All right. You want true entertainment? You want sports entertainment done the right way? Then you need to be with the Masters of Wrestling. Bottom line, right there. Sunshine says the two idiots holding hands in the ring made me gag. Oh, we're talking about Mrs. Becky Lynch, the true Mrs. Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, and Roman Dud Reigns. That's what we're talking about. Ray Dotson says, I would love to do a pod with you, Emir, Matt DeMille, and Rico. Well, maybe it'll happen, Ray Dotson. We will chat later this week. Sunshine says, welcome, Christian. Like I said, Christian Darkwood. I'm not sure if he's a channel member, or he's returning, or if he's brand new. But any of you that have not become channel members, please do so this week, because next week, all live streams moving forward are going to be for channel members only. And we're going to get more scathing in there because when we are in the channel members only, we can be more uncensored. Okay? There's a lot more we can do there that we can't do here. So all the live streams will be going exclusively to members only starting next week, unless there's earth-shattering news that needs to be covered, but moving forward, that's going to happen. Moving forward, 2 member videos every week, member giveaways, 10% off of merchandise, and then the channel members don't need to add super chats if they want me to interact with them on all live streams. Fresh Air says, I enjoyed SummerSlam. Hate me all you want. Fresh Air, we're not hating you. You're entitled to your own opinion. We're not part of that new breed of people that says just because you think a different way means we can't talk to you. That's bullshit. That's idiotic thinking. So Fresh Air, you are always welcome here. If you enjoyed it, good for you, my man. Tinkster says, Master Amir, I think you should have a yearly fan conference where we all like-minded wrestling fans from this channel can get together. Hey, how about that? All our channel members right there and everybody else. Ray Dotson says, me too, sunshine. That's a good idea, Tinkster. Fresh Air says, God bless you for that. Yeah, indeed. God bless you too, Fresh Air. Mike Blasey says, do you think AEW is a tax write-off for his billionaire dad? Yes, I do. I've covered that many times. I think AEW is a damn tax write-off because it's losing more money than what it makes on a yearly basis, and that ain't good business. It's used as a tax write-off because Tony Khan's dad makes so much money, he needs massive tax write-offs. So all these morons in AEW that think that they're there because they have talent. Do you know how many friggin' wrestlers the Tickler has employed? He's got so many employed, he forgot they're even on his books. Like Sammy Guevara and his wife. Some crap like that I heard. He didn't even know he'd fired her or something like that, or he thought he'd fired her and didn't even know because he has about 1,000 wrestlers, or if not 1,500 or 2,000 people on payroll. All right? Okay? Wrestlers that never see TV. All right? He's just a glorified sponsor. That's all he is. You know? I don't know. Ridiculous. God bless you for that. Ray Dotson says, Emir, every thought of doing a title belt replica raffle giveaway or auction. When we have the financial capacity to do that, Ray Dotson, absolutely. The more this channel grows, the more it expands, opens up into the rest of the international community. The more channel members we got, the more financial input we'll be able to put into things like that. So yeah, absolutely. When the time comes, we will. What we got here? Ray Dotson says, all right. Olga says, Anthony Bourdain once said, I don't have to agree with you to like or respect you. Exactly, Olga. This is the problem, the mental problem with the majority of the world right now. Look at Paul Walter Hauser. Look at Mick Foley. Mick Foley just destroyed his career because he didn't agree with somebody that the WWE were friends with. So he decided to go to awful excrement wrestling, already humiliated himself, barking like a dog, may unfortunately end himself or get potentially crippled. We don't wish that for him if he steps back into the ring with Dobby, the little elf Allen. But at the end of the day, stupidity. Just because somebody else disagrees with you, asinine. Absolutely asinine that people make such a big deal out of it. All right? I don't agree with everything anybody says or thinks, but it doesn't mean I don't like them. It just means, oh, well, I'm sure I agree with them on more stuff than I disagree with them with. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Stupid, asinine people who think like that. Ray Dotson says, maybe the NWA or WCW World Title replicas. Yeah, good idea. Maybe we'll have a real NWA title belt on here. Fresh Air says, I'm amazed AEW is still on the air. Trust me, I am too. Tony pays his way to be on the air. Sunshine says 100% Olga. Christian Darkwood says, your thoughts on Big Cass returning tomorrow. Does it work with or without Enzo? I think Enzo is going to be right behind him, but I think Big Cass has gotten himself in fantastic shape. He kicked the bottle. He kicked the drugs. He's worked on himself, and he's doing. I think he'll be a great asset to WWE. He's a throwback to 6, 7, 8 years ago, so it's a good thing. But I think he could work without Enzo, but I think it'll be a matter of time before he gets there. Steve Vendetta, I think. Steve, where are you? In the UK or Canada? There's an international conversion rate on there. But Steve, if you can do it, man. I'd love to have you here and as a channel member, my man. It's $4.99 conversion, $7.50 a month. It's a one-time payment a month. You're not going to pay more than that. Look, Trend Leader, he's afraid to become a channel member right there, Trend Leader. He's afraid because he's afraid he knows the content we have is raw, unfiltered truth on the members only section and going to be in the live stream. So, but he's still here. But anyway, Christian Woodmash, your thoughts on Big Cass? I think it's going to be a great thing for the company. Sunshine says, hey, Steve, how did you get that price in Canada? Yeah, I think it's in Canada, the conversion rate. Olga says, appalling evil wrestling equals AEW. Amen to that. Oh, Canuck is Canada. That's right, Sunshine. So it's the conversion rate, whatever they're doing, because I'm based in the U.S., so they're converting it overseas to Canada. That's what it is. And I can't control that. I can't control the conversion rate. But yeah, all right, 6:24. It's time for me to eat some more protein. All right, so I got to go and eat today, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to watch a documentary tonight. I was talking to my wife, Sean, what's his name? Oliver Stone's son, Sean Stone. He put out a documentary about some creepy place like back in 2012. I saw Russell Brand talking about it with him on his podcast yesterday, in fact. And I said, I'm going to watch that documentary. You know, it's like my man Casper Sight. I'm enjoying Casper Sight's content. I'm going to try and get him on the podcast as well, reviewing the realm of the freaky deaky and supernatural. So, but he does it in a funny way. It's a harmless way. So I'll be checking out that later on. Olga, Sunshine, I'm going to be talking to you, Sunshine, because you're going to be coming on the podcast. Another thing, channel members are going to get to come on the podcast here and there. So Sunshine's coming on. Olga's coming on the podcast. Ray Dotson's coming on the podcast. Dan will be back with me on the podcast this week. Of course, Joshua, we shot another piece. He's going to be on the podcast with me again later this week. So tune in. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, he's going through a lot of shit right now, Russell, and I don't believe half of it. I think it's just a witch hunt. I said that before. Documentary, Olga, before I sign off, is called, what's it called? Sean Stone. Sean Stone documentary. It is called, unless somebody put it in there. Come on, people. What the heck is it? It's called Filmography. 1991 is, where is it here? Shit, I can't. Greystone Park. It's called Greystone Park. So I'm going to be watching that later on. Olga, love me some documentaries, but don't watch anything with demonic content. Have enough sadness going on. Well, Olga, maybe that's not the one for you to watch right now. And, prayer for Olga. Pray for Sunshine. I pray for all of you in the chat right now and anybody watching this later on who's dealing with anything that's causing heaviness to your heart. Anthony DiCarlo, become a channel member, my man. Who's struggling with anything, who needs prayer for help, please pray for each other in the name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. Where two or more are gathered, Jesus is right there in the middle. So make sure you utilize these times to pray. When we all come together, make sure if there's something you need prayer for, that you all bundle up and pray for it. I want you all to pray for each and every one of us' health, that we be restored to optimal health in the name of Yeshua. All right? I want you to pray for Olga right now, for peace for her. I want you to pray for all of our channel members here. All right? So make sure you do that. And yeah, Olga, I didn't want to say it, but she put it in the chat there. Her father passed away yesterday on Saturday. So make sure you please pray strength for Olga in the name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and also just pray for all of us to have strength and to have the health to get through everything that we need to get through in this life. All right. Okay. So I want to God bless each and every one of you in the name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. Make sure you comment in the comments after or whatever, the main comments. Make sure you thumbs up the video. For anyone who hasn't subscribed, make sure you do, but don't recheck your subscribe button, because sometimes people do that and then they unsubscribe it. And there's a guy called Bushy. I don't know who the heck this guy is. He's called Bushy, and I think he pushes subscribe and then pushes it off. I think he's just touching, because 1 minute he's there and then he's not, and then it's like he's a new subscriber again. It's like he touches it every other day. He just keeps going on and on. Just leave it alone. If you're there, if you're already a subscriber, you know you are, leave it alone. If you're not, hit the subscribe, hit the join button, do all that good stuff. God bless you. I'll see you on the next one.